Hey there.
Oh, hello.
Hello there.
Hello. Hey, how are you
What was
doing,
that?
man?
What was that cartoon nutty professor? Oh, hello there. It was Woody. It was, I remember, it was Woody Woodpecker. My name is Professor Dingle Dong. Oh, hello there. I was dingling with my dong before the show.
Oh my gosh. John BL, hey dude. Hey, welcome everybody. This is Talking Guitars and 80's Metal Live. It's June 30th. Goodbye, June. Unless there's a 31st tomorrow, which I don't know.
No.
2020.
It's 2020, so you never fucking know. The mirror universe wall may open and evil counterparts may come here. And like you'll tune into next week's show. There'll be someone in my seat wearing all yellow, along with a yellow hippo instead of a blue rhino, and he'll be sweet as can be, not a foul word out of him, and he'll want to talk about harmonicas and grunge music live.
Doesn't sound so bad.
Yeah,
electric harmonicas.
Nothing could be a downgrade from this show. So we're at rock bottom. We bring your quality right to the bottom, folks. Don't worry about it. Can't get worse.
8:16 Eastern Time, 5:16 where we are. We're both in California, Santa Cruz, and Hollywood. And what else? We're live on YouTube, where you can become a channel sponsor. Right there.
Oh.
You can help support in the creation of these videos and more. And the top tier are the executive producers like Charles Green, Joe Christian, Music Therapy Labs, David Ennis, Thomas Santiago, Mike Neese, Connor Johnson, 5150, Michael Smith, who got a new guitar last night, but heard some bad news. Some Dave Dude, and Steve Carmichael.
Steve Carmichael?
And welcome everybody to the show. The one and only Neanderthal.
Ladies and gentlemen, Neanderthal!
Good morning.
It's like when we replaced JoJo in the band that week with an orangutan. It's like, fine, we don't need JoJo. We don't need JoJo at all. It was just an orangutan there, like eating its snot, and that was it. Yeah.
Sorry for the tardiness.
Yeah, I'm sorry for my retardiness.
Oh.
I had to you know, I was doing a business call.
Listen how low his voice is.
Oh, we're having voice issues already?
Yeah.
Luke, I'm your father.
It's not true. It's not true.
I guess I have to come back. See you, everybody.
Aww. You know, I actually like that idea. We'll do Cobra Kai Platoon expands on it. He says there needs to be a Bizarro Mancuda episode. That'd be really funny if I came in one week as like the mirror universe version of myself, and I'll be like totally different. It'll be like I'll be like clean cut and polite and well behaved, and you know, I'll say, you know, you know, of course, I respect the education system. And, you know, women have just as much opportunity as men. So I don't see why they're objectified. And heavy metal music, I just don't like the dirty lyrics of it. It falls flat on me. Now, grunge, there was a masterpiece of musical symphony coming in. With the lights out, it's less dangerous. Here we are now, entertain us. And then, like, suddenly the pink me comes back and says, you know, in my anus, it's so dangerous. You know, something like that. I don't know. It would be pretty funny, right?
You know, would be would be awesome. Maybe I shouldn't say it. Maybe we should just do it and surprise everybody. I have a really good idea.
Send me a text real quick.
I have a really good idea.
I'm curious. I'll say if we should talk about it now, if we should just do it. Send it to me via text right now. I just want to see this.
Let me get up my brand new phone.
Yeah, Fruitcake Tony points out I didn't shave today. I only had time to shave one place. I figured it looked like there was a ferret in my ass crack, so I thought that was the place it had to get priority today. You know, so I skipped my face, but my ass crack, smooth like a marble statue. I'm featuring that next week. I'm gonna come in doing a handstand with no pants.
Yikes. Okay, so I'm assuming Neanderthal is restarting his computer.
Did you send me a text? I'm waiting for a text.
Yeah.
Oh, you're texting now. Okay. On your new phone. Johnny has that new phone.
Yeah.
And yes, like Sandra Pocorni says, please hit that like button because we really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Sandra. Tune in next week when
21.
When John's marble ass says, that's great. Let's see. Thank you, Brian Spalding. Let's do a little roll call real quick. Let's see. Brian Spalding, Fruitcake Tony, Nightbot, Sandra. Oh, Pocorni. Pocorni. We love you long time. 5150 Fly Guy, Mr. Hellstorm 74, Blackjack Guitar Nut, Susie Cherry, leaving all the hearts. Hello. Joe Hervey 84. By the way, those hearts aren't for me, they're for Joe Hervey. So, or no, I'm sorry, they're for Blackjack Guitar Nut. Nobody loves me. Crazy Cook 678, Brian S. Let's see, Frank Corcoran, Hugh Caldwell. Let's see, Janice Lala. Hey, Janice. Fruitcake Tony, my man. Thomas Santiago. Quentin James. Scrolling. Boy, my balls are swollen. Jim Nicholas. Jim Nicholas came here for the Wilford Brimley signature fleshlight. We will be offering that in the Johnny Bean store in the next few weeks. It's going to be
working on a prototype right now. This one is ridged for your pleasure.
It's going to be like a regular fleshlight, but with a big mustache at the hole. So,
and if you have sex with it, you get the diabetes.
The diabetes.
That's Chris the only communicable disease you'll get from it.
Chris Bevan, John Biel, how are you, brother? 5150 JT, Kevin Coachell, Linny Lou, and Mary. Hi. Cobra Kai Platoon, welcome everybody. Crazy Cook 678, Steve Carmichael, and everyone else, because we love you all and we really appreciate you coming here. For your
I was gonna say today is a shitty day. Carl Reiner died.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
That sucks.
That really sucks.
Yeah, he was awesome. He was 98, so it was time, but it's still right now. What we need is the last thing we need is a less funny world. And Carl Reiner still funny, still making funny things as recent as last year at 97.
And gave us Rob Reiner with his sperm, so we appreciate that.
As recent as like 2 days ago, I heard on the radio I heard he was active on he was active on Twitter just like a couple days ago.
Oh, no kidding. I just know he did, he obviously did some voices for Family Guy and did the recent Toy Story movie last year. And did some voice work for it. So, I mean, guy worked all the way through the time. He started in television in 1950, and here he is, 80 years later.
Dick Van Dyke, Smothers Brothers. I mean,
yeah, he was on everything.
Yeah, I mean, everything that was good. I mean, just everything. He really did. Like,
Jerk.
I did the Jerk before I came on the show. That's why I didn't come on with a loaded gun.
Good point.
Actually, it's a little blunt around the head, but kind of comes to a point.
Well, good for you.
There you go.
That's just erosion is what that is.
Erection? Oh, and I said erection. Hey, Amanda Coombs, welcome. And Metal Soda. Well, I don't know. I'm talking about erection, and it's like, oh, there's Amanda Coombs and Metal Soda.
That's nice.
Yeah. Carl Reiner, the great Carl Reiner. Thank you, Carl Reiner, for all you did.
He was awesome. He was.
I love
awesome.
that photo of him and Rob Reiner. I love that photo up there.
He may be, along with Norman Lear, the greatest television writer of all time. It's very possible. Yeah. I mean, Norman Lear, Sid Caesar, and Mel Brooks should be like, the Mount Rushmore of comedy writers. They're phenomenal.
Well, apparently we're about to replace our other Mount Rushmore, so I guess we'll see.
Whatever. Not going there. Fucking tired of people. Hate the human race. Welcome to our show.
Yeah, me too. Definitely. And there's I'm not even going to get into it. I'm just going to say, I'm not even going to say who's on what side, but in the last week, so many rock stars have gotten involved in the political civil war. And I'm not going there, but I'm going to rattle off a couple of names just to give you an idea of like how deep it's going. It's like, okay.
Well, here's the thing, but I want to stop you before you even get there.
Go ahead.
Because there's this propensity for people to shit on musicians for expressing their position, whatever side they're on. But this is why I'm not
saying who's on what side.
They're you and me. Yeah. So, I mean, just because you're in the public eye doesn't mean you don't have an opinion and you don't have a right to voice your opinion. We don't have to agree with it.
Sure.
But just because you're famous, and there are a lot of people that are like, shut up and play the drum, shut up and play the guitar, shut up and sing, shut up and make your movies, shut up. Hey, they have every right to have an opinion. And just because their opinion might not be your opinion doesn't mean you shit on them for it. So just before you get into it, that's all I wanted to point out, is because I guarantee when you go down the list, if you were to say which side of the aisle or which position some of these musicians held, I guarantee you somebody in the chat would be like, fuck him, shut up. Just play the guitar.
I mean, look, we have all parties on our show because everyone's welcome here.
Sure.
We don't talk about politics on the show because nobody wants to come here and discuss politics. Yeah, this is an escape show. This is a comedy show. We talk about music and pop culture and blah 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 blah. But just FYI, who's in the fray of it? Just this week alone. Not saying who's on whose side. Ted Nugent, the Tom Petty Estate, the Rolling Stones, Dee Snider, Sebastian Bach, and Don Dokken in 1 week. And that's like without even really diving deep.
And Tommy Lee.
And
a couple other guys, Mike Portnoy, Spider One from Power Man 5000. Like, a lot of these guys are just banging in with their opinion, and they're entitled to their opinion. They're all in this opinion. I would much rather lament the loss of Carl Reiner than dig into the political beliefs of my favorite musicians. I don't care.
I'd rather shove glass up my ass than talk politics.
Yep.
That's how I feel. But let's see.
But then again, that's the answer to a lot of things for you.
Whoa, hold the phone. Susie Cherry just said, I love this show. Susie, we need to have you bronzed. You are the only one. That might be the first time
that's ever happened.
I've never gotten that compliment. Even my parents haven't given me a compliment like that. Susie, thank you so much.
My parents hate your show.
Yeah. My parents hate John.
My parents hate me.
My parents are dead and they still hate John.
My dad's delirious and in the hospital under so much medication, and all he could come up with is the doctor says, "Are you coherent, Mr. Mancuda? Do you know where you are? Do you know what day it is?" My doctor's like, "I hate my son."
Yep. Oh no.
Yeah, that's all he knows. That's all he knows.
Oh, look at him. Look, you think he wants to be on show business, but he can't seem to afford a razor already.
Yeah, you missed it. It's like Mr. Hellstorm 74 says, my mom loves Mancuda. Then your mom's either senile or just a horrible judge of character. But hey, I'm single right now, so I'm
shocking.
I'm in. Yeah, I know, right? I'm single right now. Yeah.
Well, right now is
I'm single right always.
The whole life.
Yeah. Even when I've been in relationships, I'm single because I know behind my back, all my girlfriends have always been like, I'll be right with you, honey. Yeah, he's still here. Come over after he leaves. You know, I know it. I know it.
Girlfriends.
Who needs? Oh God, I do. I'm so lonely.
I actually had a friend of mine. Anyway, this is a true story. That was watching the show. That goes, is that John Mancuda gay? I went, why? And she goes, because look at all the pink stuff he wears. I go, no. I go, he just loves
confident.
glam.
I'm confident
He
in my
loves glam
sexuality. It's a glam color. It's a gay rights color. It's a breast cancer awareness color. I stand for all of that stuff. And speaking of which, real quick, that guitar over my shoulder right there, that rainbow color, that is a tribute to Pride Month. This is the last day of Pride Month for our LGBTQ members of the channel. Thank you so much, and happy Pride Month.
And I also would like to recognize a pioneer in the country music genre, African-American country star Charlie Pride, who also should be involved in this month for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So if you are gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual, questioning, or curious, whatever the other, and sometimes why,
I'm curious.
Kiss an angel good morning.
I don't know what I'm curious about. I'm curious why I even get work is why I'm curious. I'm curious why I'm not.
When's the last time you had work?
Yeah, this ain't working. Oh man, that ain't working. That's the way you do it. Money for nothing. They should change the lyrics for the show. No money and chicks avoid me.
Yeah, that's possible. Look at our friend Jason McNamara, just lifting his leg all over you.
That's all right. He's a three-legged doggy. It's okay.
I just love that my friend is so enlightened that she still believes that if you wear pink stuff, you're gay.
Nah, thanks.
Like only gay people wear pink things.
Not me, man. I support gay rights, but I'm as straight as an arrow. I'm an ally, as they call me.
Mm-hmm.
The allies.
The allies. We will do away with the allies. The Jews.
He is one of the allies.
Brian S. says, my parents hate John, but she loves his scarf. Well, listen, if I got rid of the scarf, I mailed it to your mom. Will you stop watching? I have a feeling. I have a lot of mom love. I'm just noticing a lot of people are saying their mom are fans. And
that's pretty good.
Quentin James says, I'm just here to see Paul's puppy dogs. That's why I come too. And I don't mean here. I mean ejaculate. Paul's dogs really get me going. That's why I'm questioning.
I actually have Ace is napping in his crate right now. He's had a very busy afternoon.
You're mailing him somewhere?
No, I put him in the crate because this happened last week. He chewed the brush. When he doesn't get enough attention, as you know, he comes over and sits up on my lap, but then he runs off for like an hour and gets quiet. And that's when I go out in the other room and I see one of my pillows has exploded like Kennedy's head in the Zapruder film.
Nice.
So, too soon?
Yeah. Right.
So I ran him pretty hard and he's pretty relaxed and rested. So I gave him a treat and he's sitting in his crate, just chewing on his treat. He'll be out at some point.
Yeah. Dogs are God's gift to man that we don't deserve.
Awesome.
Greatest creatures in the world. They are. What other creature dedicates their whole life to give you unconditional love that you don't deserve? That's their whole goal in life.
Mm-hmm.
Love dogs.
Mm-hmm. They're the best. But I think we've established that Ace is occasionally a pillow biter.
Yeah, it's Pillow Princess. Let's see. Music Therapy Laz, thank you so much. Mike Neese thinks Paul is a pro wrestler. You never know. Those wild Saturday nights have turned into some kind of mudslinging parties there.
I have actually wrestled professionally.
I'll
send Johnny a picture. We'll put it up. I wrestled in Memphis, Tennessee for a while. Yeah, I'll send you a picture. I'll find it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll find the picture and send it over to Johnny.
Mr.
It's me like I'm up on the ring corner, like that, like doing one of those poses. Like trying to get heat from the crowd. I'll send it. You'll love it. It's funny.
They're all farting in your direction. You're getting plenty of heat and a breeze.
Jason. No, I shaved. No, it wasn't to wear the mask, but it helps.
We're alternating beards. I didn't have time to shave today. We're alternating beards. I'm wearing the Kip Winger style today, and Johnny got rid of his. Mr. Hellstrom 74 says his mom insists I shave before I come over. Okay. Believe me, I'll shave me and your mom. Trust me. We're all getting shaven today.
I've got the Flintstone beard.
It's a good time today. Oh, yo, Fred, you didn't shave nothing?
Connie, I have the Flintstone beard. I can shave this morning and have a shadow by 3 o'clock. I've got that Cro-Magnon beard, and it's ridiculous. As if I don't look enough like Fred Flintstone and Ernest Borgnine's bastard son having sex with Peter Griffin.
Giggity go. Papa Blue asked if I shaved my palm. Yes, I did. They're clean as a whistle. It also got off that crust. Let's see. Senator Corny, hashtag Pride Month. Damn straight. Sebastian Ba, greeting from Serbia. Hey, man. Thank you, Bass.
Welcome.
And yes, Blackjack Guitar Nut, I do like breasts. Every single one I've met, I have never met one I don't like. As long as they're attached to a woman, they are for me. Human woman, I should say.
Human woman.
Human woman. Yeah, I just want everyone to celebrate their own selves. So let's see. Linny Lou, I love Mary as well. Thank you. Jason wants to hear us do a Fred and Barney conversation. Hey, Fred, how about you give me a bowl of your Pebbles cereal? The delicious fruity flavors really turn me on.
It doesn't work if we both do Barney, so I can't do Fred because it ends up being somebody else.
You want me to do Fred?
Hey, Fred. Yeah, you can do Fred. I can do Barney.
Time for my delicious Pebbles cereal. A delicious part of this balanced breakfast. You got to join in?
No, I'm trying to think of other Flintstone Barney. Hey, Fred. Two
Freds.
Your wife has yeah, dueling Freds. Barney, diabetes.
Hey, Fred, you're getting a little portly there. Yeah, and what of it? I was hoping you didn't get the diabetes rock.
Rockabeatus.
Rockabeatus. Bonnie, I got rockabeatus.
Dinobeatus.
There you go. Nice.
Oh, the dinobeatus.
I got a case of the diabetes.
Fred, that's no dancer. That's a rockstitute. Rockstitute? You're almost going to kill me. Oh, boy, Barney.
Hey, Fred, it's been a while. How old is Pebbles now?
Bonnie's always asking to eat my Pebbles. Do you think he means my daughter?
Well, I don't know. Is Pebbles fruity? Or are you fruity? You're wearing the pink.
And then Barney's son is like headed for porn because his name is Bam Bam. So that's like definitely going to be his name. And Bam 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 Bam. All right, Bam Bam. Now shoot your rock load on her face. Like molten lava in the Stone Age.
Pebbles' life doesn't go so good, so she's on the other side of a wall with a hole in it, and they open the door. She goes, "You think your job is bad?" Yeah, you don't understand. Mr. Slade is hitting on your daughter.
You want that raised Flintstone?
You're fired.
No, that's Mr. Spacely.
It's the same fucking guy. They're the same guy.
Mr. Spacely is for George Jetson. Oh,
yeah, the Jetsons and the Flintstones are the same show.
Boy, I hope I get to be Vice President Jetson. Jetson, you're fired. Oh boy. And then he goes to work for work. Then he goes to work at Coxwell Cox or something, or
Cogswell Cogs. Yeah.
Cogswell Cogs, yes.
Which, by the way, I think the fact that we've gotten this far through a Flintstones bit and still haven't already figured out that I'm the Great Gazoo. Hello, dum dum.
Hello, dum dum.
You put a motorcycle helmet on my head, and I am the Great Gazoo.
That was the first gay character. Did you know that? That was the first gay cartoon character, the Great Gazoo.
Yeah, that and there was a couple of monsters on the Flintstones that were gay as well. like the birds and stuff like that. There was a lot of effeminate portrayal in all cartoons. I mean, there were gay characters on Warner Brothers cartoons. I mean, that was the first line of sort of cross-dressing and effeminate characters being obviously warping the minds of our children.
Yeah, and here we are. Here's what we grew up to be. This in this failure of a podcast. This is what we grew up to be.
Yeah.
By the way,
Snagglepuss also gay.
Heavens to Murgatroyd.
Murgatroyd,
Are you
so gay. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and he's pink too. But he's gay and pink. I'm just confident but let's see. Dry Heat 480 says you boys have issues. Welcome to the show.
Yeah. Is this your first time seeing this?
We love new listeners. Welcome to the show.
We have issues. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. I got Mr. Miracle number 9. I got Dennis the Menace Summer Funner. I got Justice Society trade paper. I got a lot of issues. What comics do you read?
I'm 52 years old and I'm wearing a Trailer Park Boys t-shirt. You tell me what the problem is.
Yeah, and I have Mars Attacks.
I love the Green Bastard.
I have Mars Attacks Pizza. So, I have my own set of problems here.
Mars Attacks, super underrated movie.
Yeah, and pizza, super underrated food. Let's see.
I loved Mars Attacks.
Oh, it was great. I have the old trading cards from the 60s. They're great. Let's see. Fruitcake Tony wants to know what is today's. Tell us a little bit about today's show and tell guitar. Is it celebrity? It's not celebrity. It is. Let's see. What can I say?
It's yours.
I'll tell you what brand it is. It's a Charvel. It's a vintage Charvel. I won't say what specifically, but it is a very cool vintage Charvel. So if you like the Jackson Charvel brand, stay with us. If not, hey, there's other stuff on, but we appreciate it anyway. Let's see. Brian S brings up the banana splits. It's funny. Someone did a horror movie of the banana splits. Like really, real genius. It was like a low budget horror movie. I forgot the name of it, but I wish I would have thought of that. I love fucking horror movies.
It was just called the Banana Splits movie.
No. This was some horror movie. They weren't called the Banana Splits. They were like, it was the Banana Splits under a different name.
Yeah, but it was interesting because I think the makeup or the costuming, because again, it was low budget. I think the costuming looked very much like Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh,
they made them look a little more like Bizarro.
It's just called Banana Splits. Yeah, it's just called Banana Splits, but
it's a horror movie recently?
Considered a horror movie, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. Let's see. And if you're watching right now, because we have over 100 people, take a second, please leave a thumbs up right now, hit the like button while you're doing nothing. We're doing all the entertaining. You guys just sit there and laugh or throw fruit at the computer screen or something. But please leave a thumbs up. Just saying. Let's see what else. Mancuda, if we live through what's going on, are we going to go around the world for New Year's Eve like we did this last year? That was quite the long, fun night. Thank you, Papa Blue. We did, for those that weren't here, we did a 9-hour New Year's Eve marathon last year. If we survive all this shit, I'm game for it. If New Year's Eve happens to fall on one of our nights, I mean, I'm game for it. Paulie, what do you think?
I was there for what, like 3 hours or 3.5 hours of the one we did on New Year's Eve because I live a very exciting life.
I have no life. That's why I'm here.
No. I mean, it would be great. That might be maybe I break out the bottle and we see what happens when Neanderthal drinks an entire fifth in 2.5 hours.
I think I know what happens. We had that episode, but we're willing to do it again
for the show.
And let's see.
A nominal fee.
A nominal fee. How many of you out there want to pay a nominal fee?
Chris Bevan brings up the new Zoo review. That was a terrifying show.
I love that show. But wait, before we get to that, just a quick plug. Jim Nicholas wants to know what flavor Bang Energy tonight. I'm double dosing. I still have some Bankster Berry left over from the other day, and I just opened a Star Blast. I picked this flavor because it's red, white, and blue, because we're coming into 4th of July, you know, Captain America shield and all that. And if you look right behind me at that Captain America shield, look right where my finger is. Do you notice a big Bang energy drink sign I just got? Do you see that?
Whoa.
Look at that. It's the birthday cake bash flavor.
Did they send that in to be featured?
Yes, and there it is. And that's why I'm pointing it out.
In the middle of all that other stuff.
Thank you, Bang Energy Drink, because your sponsorship ruins our other comedy. It ruins everything. It takes away from the whole flow of the show. Paul brings up News Zoo Review. We're about to dive into it. We're going to have a great time body shaming Henrietta Hippo. And right now, it's like, oh, God, right. Fucking Bang Energy Drink. Yeah, sponsor Bang Energy Drink. Right. Sponsoring body shaming. And there we are. There's the sign. I promised I'd put it on set. There it is. Thank you, Bang Energy Drink. We do appreciate your sponsorship. Go ahead, Paul. News Zoo Review.
I have nothing.
Fuck. All right. So, Bang Energy.
I have nothing.
No, New Zoo Review. I think that was like more on the East Coast, if you watch that. It was, Freddie the Frog, Henrietta Hippo, and Charlie the Owl, and their friends Doug and Annie Joe, who are humans. I don't know where it took place that these living, talking animals, and by the way, the frog's like 8 feet high. So just giving you that.
Biggest frog ever.
Yeah, and Henrietta Hippo, the horniest hippo in a dress you've ever seen, always coming around. Oh, hello, Doug. Oh, it's just lonely here, and I happen to be dropping my handkerchief. I hope no one hears my rump. Yeah. So, News Zoo Review. Yeah, no, I love it.
Never really liked it. Never really liked the News Zoo Review. It was not my cup of tea. I was a big Banana Splits fan. I liked HR Puffin stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I liked what was the Saturday morning thing, the thing with Dr. Shrinker and Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. It was like two different shows.
It was the Croft Super Show. And you
had
had
Super Show. I loved that show.
You had a whole live action thing. You had Lidsville, you had the Bugaloos, you had Land of the Lost, you had Lost Saucer, you had Dr. Shrinker, Magic Mongo, Wonderbug, and I know all this shit. This is why I have no girlfriend, because I know all of this. I have no idea what to do with a woman, but I know all about Wonderbug. I can tell you all about it.
Yeah. And Electra Woman and Dyna Girl. Hello.
Now I'm going to start jerking off. Oh, my God. Electra Woman and Dyna Girl.
By the way, don't you think that Sid and Marty Krofft were consonant shaving? Do you think that the second F was necessary?
I think what they were is on acid to come up with something like Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. I mean, come on, it's like a total acid trip. Half those shows.
Yeah, Electra Woman and Dyna Girl was pretty good. It was so much better than ISIS. Do you remember ISIS?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
she was on after Shazam and before.
ISIS was
right before Arc 2.
Yeah, Isis was this Egyptian goddess, and she freaking she said, "Oh, mighty Isis," and her little amulet would transform her into the Egyptian god Isis, and she'd fly up in a mini skirt, and everyone under her is just looking up like, "Oh man." Yeah.
I remember seeing Dyna Girl. It was the first time he became aware of breasts.
Oh,
like God, if you look at Electra Woman and Dyna Girl, the girl that played Dyna Girl was stacked.
Oh my God, she had jugs.
Huge tits. And I was like, oh my God. Like, that was my first time I started to realize what my special purpose was.
And by the way, if you're a parent that's like for censorship and you're tuning in right now, or Bang Drink Executive, understand, we're simply talking about children's shows that existed. We're not here to perverse your child. We're just talking about what's been aired. That's all. So yeah, those jugs. And Bigfoot and Wild Boy.
Yeah.
There's another thing.
How about
a young boy left in the forest, raised by big hairy Bigfoot. How
about the first time? It's the first time I'd ever seen live action and cartoons, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn.
I didn't see
when they did. Yeah, it was on Banana Splits. It was the It was basically it was the two live guys, and then all cartoons around them. It was always Ted Cassidy was the voice of Injun Joe, which is a character you couldn't do now.
No kidding.
And like all of the villainous character was always an approximation of Ted Cassidy, who was Lurch on the Addams Family.
Oh, nice. Well, I'm glad to hear he got work.
Mr. Hellstorm brings up Aaron Gray in that Buck Rogers outfit. Same thing as Electro Woman and Dinah Girl.
Oh yeah.
You know, same exact outfit. You looked at that. That was the first time I'd ever seen Camel Toe as well. Was on Buck Rogers in the 25th century.
Daisy from freaking Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, first time I'd ever seen Camel Toe was definitely on. See, there's a lot you can't see Dinah Girl's rack, but it's very nice.
It's there. Trust me, I couldn't stop staring at it. To this day, I have it on DVD, and I'm like, stop, freeze frame, stop, freeze frame. Right there, right there. That's a nipple. I see it. That's a nipple. Yeah, no, all the Sid and Marty Krofft stuff was genius. And Land of the Lost, don't even get me started. Land of the Lost was the best.
Now,
thank you. Colton, Chris Kevin, you're my hero. Thank you, brother.
You know what's interesting about Land of the Lost? I first of all, fuck Chaka. Let's just say that right now. I've had enough of him.
I would have thrown him at the T-Rex.
Yeah, he was like Ewoks in Star Wars, a completely unnecessary character development.
And he always broke his ankle. They were always carrying him. It's like, oh
he was the clumsiest.
Chaka fell. It's like, do we really need to save the little primordial caveman? Do we really need him? Usara! Usara! Ungani! Shut up! Shut up!
Here's the thing. The greatness of Land of the Lost, the greatness of the stop motion animation of the Tyrannosaurus Rexes and all that stuff was completely overshadowed by the horrible puppetry of like when they got up close to them. Like they would show the stop motion of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and it looked huge and terrifying and stuff. Then they would show like the head would turn around and yell at the camera, and it was like this stupid. Yeah, boy, that's fetal alcohol syndrome is what that is.
Jesus,
what's going on there?
Look at that.
Look at that's just come on.
The hell, it's a deformed child, and he can't talk English.
It's good to see Leif Garrett the early years.
I know, right? And everyone, every kid that was watching that was like had a crush on Holly, you know. And do you see the episode where they showed Holly's future self? And it was this.
I don't remember that.
Oh no, Johnny, you need to look for that. Just look for Holly from Land of the Lost future self. Holly falls into some cave, right? And it's like a time warp where her future self comes to talk to her, and her future self is this smoking hot blonde in a silk top that you can see through, and I mean really see through. No bra, no electric tape. I'm sitting there like, doink.
I miss Saturday morning cartoons.
Holy fuck! And now Elmer can't have a gun. Jesus.
Chaka sucked. The puppetry sucked. I've come to the conclusion that stormtroopers are just Sleestack in armor.
I was about to say they descended from Sleestack.
Yeah, they're the same because they're every bit as slow and clumsy and can't shoot anything.
Sleestack had these crossbows that, you know, Will, Holly, and Marshall are against the cave wall. Look at that. Zoom in on that shit. Nipplage at its front. Right?
I don't remember that episode.
I don't forget that episode. Every time I'm in the shower, I'm thinking of that fucking episode.
Huh.
No, Will Marshall and Holly are pinned against the cave wall. The Sleestacks are 3 feet away. There's 6 of them with crossbows. They're shooting at them and missing every one. Every fucking one is missing. They're like, Dad, I think they're out of arrows. Run, Will, run, Holly. It's like, holy shit.
Vista Light brings up a good point. Chaka had 2 brothers or friends or stuff like that used to pick on him. That's why he hung out with Will and Holly.
Yeah, Ta and Sa.
Yeah, Ta, and they used to abuse him. So he ran. It was better to be with human beings, another species, than to be with his own family. Boy, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, no shit.
Said
right?
the guy who owns 2 dogs.
No, it's like Baby Metal, but in a caveman motif. There's 3 of them, and you know, one's doing all the work, and the other just on the side complaining, and you know, it's like Baby Metal.
Yeah, but going back to it, Land of the Lost was super like
awesome.
Special effects were amazing at the time. Again, like I said, on the one hand, you got the stop motion animation of those dinosaurs where they looked terrifying, and then when they get the close up, and it was the spongy puppet dinosaurs where you could actually see like the stitching in their tongue and stuff like that.
I actually handled the props for that show over a while, at least the dinosaur, Grumpy, the T-Rex. So I've seen up close that dinosaur puppet, and it was pretty cool. I mean, look, for what at the time was available, that was fucking awesome.
Yeah. Was it that?
There it is. Justin Bieber as Chaka. And don't even, that's the Chaka love doll right there. And don't even get me started on fucking the 2009 movie, because that blew harder than Tracy Lords.
Yeah, stay away from that.
Yeah, don't even.
I never saw it.
The stories were good. The stories were really good. They were like written by like Star Trek writers.
Yeah, and remember, I think as I look at Chaka, it does look an awful lot like Clint Howard.
There's Baba Booey right there.
It definitely looks like Clint Howard.
Looks like Mo Howard.
Chaka Howard.
Wow. And yes, Amanda Coombs, we do want to know what big boobs smell like on 110-degree weather. Why do you ask? Oh, jeez. Yeah. So welcome to Saturday morning and back
Tuesday night.
Back in the day on a Tuesday night. This is much better than watching politics, I promise you.
I remember Land of the Lost was like the last Steve Carmichael.
Steve Carmichael.
I remember Land of the Lost was signaled the end of cartoons on Saturdays. Like you had all the early on, it was like Davy and Goliath, and then Herculoids and Barbapapa, like all the really shitty cartoons on early. Then you got into the Bugs Bunny comedy hour. And then after that, it was like Super Friends and something like that. And as soon as you got to Land of the Lost, you knew when you saw Land of the Lost, you're like, oh, shit, this is the last thing that's on this morning. I've got to wait until 1 o'clock for Creature Feature. Like from like 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday until 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it was almost like, okay, kids, get away from the television. Go say hello to your parents. Creature Feature's up at 1 o'clock.
See, we had it different on the East Coast. I grew up in New York. Land of the Lost
it was like that in Boston.
Land of the Lost was on very early where I was. It was on before Super Friends. So
no kidding.
Yeah. I remember that. And then let's see, the last things you saw, I think Tarzan, Zorro were like the last things I think they showed that were cool. And then you got more fucking, in the news today from CBS. Remember that?
Oh yeah, in the news.
Yeah. So it's like
Christopher Glenn.
1 minute stories for little kids. So it's like, in Iran today, the Ayatollah Khomeini was talking terrorism and killing hostages. And now back to the Smurfs. It's like,
it was interesting though, because it was two stories. It was two 30-second stories. One was world news. It was like cancer ravages Eastern Europe. And then the second, we'll be back in the news. Like 10-second commercial, they'd come back and it'd be a 15-second feature on Pop Wheels.
Yeah, and it's
remember the clogs that you would push in on the bottom and the little roller skate wheels would come out?
Yeah, sure.
That was like the second story. It was just like that old Dana Gould bit where he was talking about Larry King. The more important person the first guest was on his show, the more ridiculous the second guest was. He was like, tonight, it's John Wilkes Booth and the man who played Fleagle on the Banana Splits.
Thank you, SD Design. Thank you so much. The Super Chat Challenge begins now.
Ooh.
The Super Chat Challenge.
A challenge? Go ahead, dum-dum.
I love a challenge.
It's called a train.
Thank you, SD Design. Thank you so much. We're running a train? Is that what we're doing?
That's what it's called. It's called a train.
Oh, we're running a train. Oh, no. I hope it's not running a train on me. I had that in prison. That was
again
never good. Yeah, Davy and Goliath
never works.
And you know what? Mr. C5150 is right. Davy and Goliath was on a Sunday morning, not Saturday.
Yes, it was a Sunday morning thing, and it sucked. Davy and Goliath sucked.
Yeah, every minute, Davey would fucking fall into a well or something, or get caught between two railroad ties. Goliath, go get help! I don't know, Davey. I'm very scared.
Gee, Davey, you're awful stupid.
What am I gonna do, Goliath? The train's coming. You should pray to God now, Davey. Goliath, I need real help. Go get help, you stupid motherfucker. I'll put your fucking felt ass to sleep. Get help, you retard! Oh, dear Lord, please save me. All right, I'm going.
Man, I would just watch it with the sound down, you know, because it still looked like a cartoon. Well, it was so boring.
Well, that was I get it back. I guess I got it wrong. Can you Google BARBAPAPA? Do you remember BARBAPAPA?
Yeah,
which was basically boring schmoo.
Yeah, BARBAPAPA was like Gloop and Gleep from the Herculoids, just left over into something. And they had kids. Barbazoo and Barbazoo and Barba Boner and
BARBAPAPA sucked.
Barbershop.
Remember the theme? I remember the theme. This is the story of BARBAPAPA. All of the other BARBAPAPA. That's all you got. That's all it's it.
It's it.
It was like a Bob. It's like a Bob Seger song. You find the title of the song and just repeat it for 4.5 minutes until people go, "What's the name of that song?" Oh yeah, Catmandu. There it is. BARBAPAPA.
There he is.
Yes.
What a boring.
I never saw that.
Yeah, well, you got spared. You got spared from torture. And by the way, Christopher,
it was like a family of sperm. By the way, interracial cartooning right there.
Well, there you go, and I'm proud of that. But let's see, Christopher Yeleskis, the F-bombs were the first thing you heard. This has more F-bombs than dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. this is like the Pearl Harbor of F-bombs. Yeah, and SD Design, yeah, they're reclosing the beaches in LA. Don't even start.
Look at BARBAPAPA. Just think about that for a second. Look at that BARBAPAPA picture, right? The pink one right there on the right.
If I was a turd, I would be BARBAPAPA.
Somebody walked into a network and said, "I've got a cartoon idea. Look at this." And they were like, "Oh my God. How will we ever be able to recreate that?"
It's a chubby testicle. What
yeah, it looks like somebody's fucking yam bag. What's going on here? All you did was take the vein seam out of the middle there, and
is that a Canadian?
Testicles.
Who's your BARBAPAPA, baby?
Is that a Canadian show?
I don't fucking know.
This TV Ontario.
I don't want to blame any
82.
80? No, this was earlier than 82.
Yeah, no, this was in the 70s. I mean, I watched this as a kid.
Oh.
Yeah. Brian S. I can draw BARBAPAPA. Good for you. Congratulations. I'm surprised you can walk upright.
You saw Johnny Beane's happy birthday message from me. I wrote it on my BARBAPAPA.
I can draw BARBAPAPA.
Where's the number? Yeah,
big fucking deal.
Draw everybody watching this. Draw some BARBAPAPers and text them to me.
Yeah. Listen, the best BARBAPAPA.
It's the BARBAPAPA art contest.
Text me some BARBAPAPas.
Yeah, no, seriously. If you're in the audience,
Stephen Hawking can draw BARBAPAPA.
BARBAPAPA. Jesus Christ. Amanda Coombe says it means cotton candy in French. That's not cotton candy. What's the black one? What's the brown one? What's the green one? All these fucking dirty cotton candies. What the hell is it? Jesus Christ. BARBAPAPA, look, I should get that tattooed on the head of my cock. BARBAPAPA. Yeah, what's that? Oh my God, it's BARBAPAPA.
Johnny, I have an assignment for you. Get us some BARBAPAPA t-shirts.
Oh God, yes.
Oh, I'm sure they're already out there. But yeah, there's the phone number. Text me some BARBAPAPas.
Okay, yeah, no, seriously. Johnny just posted his phone number for text. I want our audience members to draw some BARBAPAPas. Oh. And right now, while you watch, you just draw them. It shouldn't take more than a fucking second. Text Johnny some photos of
BARBAPAPA. Yeah.
I want to see who's the artists in our audience. I want to see who the fuck knows how to draw BARBAPAPA.
We have 100. We have 100. We have 100 people in here. So let's get at least a few BARBAPAPAs.
Just take, while you're watching the show, take a pen, take a pencil, whatever it is. Take crayons. I definitely want to see the best BARBAPAPA.
That's the funniest thing I've heard in a long time. I can draw BARBAPAPA. I want a T-shirt that says that.
Jesus Christ.
Text him in. Put him in the Discord.
If you can't draw BARBAPAPA, you should be wearing a helmet.
Yeah, there's over 100 people in the chat. I want to see a couple of BARBAPAPAs in the next 10 minutes. Seriously, take a minute. Just show off a little bit. Draw BARBAPAPA, write your name next to it. I want to post these online live. I want thousands of people to see your BARBAPAPAs.
I'm looking for a piece of paper. I'm going to try and draw it right now.
Some genius is going to glue Google eyes to his nutsack, and yeah.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
No, it's not. That's not a good idea, Johnny. Don't ever say that right after what John.
No, I just read something.
Yeah, great going, Johnny.
Make a BARBAPAPA section in the Discord. Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, or draw a face on your boob, and you know, and it's BARBAPAPA, BOOBAPAPA.
Lindy Lou, welcome to the Discord.
Diabetes Papa.
Thank you, Diabetes Papa. There's all these BARBAPAPAs. Metal Soda says he's just going to draw some dicks. Listen, Metal Soda, you have a good shot of winning if you draw a dick, because I'll tell you something, BARBAPAPAs.
I'm trying to find. I have so. You see with all this nonsense and shit behind me, not one piece of paper.
Jesus Christ!
Actually, you can just draw on your phone. You can draw a BARBAPAPA.
We'll take any fucking BARBAPAPA you want to send in. Just send.
Where's the drawing? What do I draw on?
Anything.
Just on your phone. Just like you make like a. How do you do that?
What app do I use?
BARBAPAPA.
BARBAPAPA.
Thank you, Jim Nicholas. BARBAPAPA.
Diapapa.
I think just the camera. Just a camera app. I think you can draw.
You can draw on the camera app?
If you have an iPhone, yeah.
Janice Lala, you are so lucky. You're like Johnny. You haven't heard of BARBAPAPA. You're very lucky. You missed a shit show of a cartoon. It was terrible. It was so stupid. Look how much effort they put into it. You can just look at the picture and say.
Yeah, but here's the thing. That made it onto television. You can't get a job right now, Mancuda, and that was on television weekly.
Yeah, BARBAPAPA
rate is that
10 times higher than I do. Jesus Christ.
You don't think 30 years from now, two other assholes aren't going to be sitting on the internet talking about this show the way we're talking about BARBAPAPA? It's not going to happen.
No, it's not. My parents only talk about the show in disappointment and embarrassment. Jesus.
All right. We got one. Hal Face.
We have one.
All right, first one in. Hal Face. Let's see.
Hal Face. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Hal Face's BARBAPAPA.
It's no worse than the original.
It's so close.
It looks
so fucking close. I love you, Hal Face. What are those seagulls on its forehead? What are those seagulls? Jesus Christ. It looks very close to the real BARBAPAPA. That's a good one.
Shit. There we go. Thank you, Hal Face.
That's a good one. Yeah, I'm gonna actually break open my Microsoft, whatever it is, the Paint program on my computer right now on my desktop, and I'm gonna try and draw BARBAPAPA right-handed with my mouse and see how good it comes out because I'm left-handed.
I'm just gonna do it with a pen. I'm joining in. While our audience sends us BARBAPAPAs, I want to draw one too. Let's see here.
This is awful.
This is entertainment.
This is BARBAPAPA.
Getting your money for it.
Just got another one.
Who's next?
This is Sandra.
Sandra Corny.
This is Sandra's BARBAPAPA right here. Thank you, Sandra.
Ooh, nice.
Let's see. Holy shit! What does BARBAPAPA have? Flippers? is that like BARBAPAPA's pet seal?
It's thalidomide BARBAPAPA.
Thank you, Sandra.
BARBAPAPA can fly now. Thank you, Sandra. That's awesome.
Thalidomide BARBAPAPA.
It's like BARBAPAPA's hands got caught in a terrible fire, so there's no more fingers. It's just like stumps. It's like amputee hand BARBAPAPA. It's so awesome. Thank you, Sandra Picorni.
Okay, we got another one here from Mr. Hellstorm.
Hellstorm 5150.
Wow. Wait a minute. Did you draw this?
Yeah, he probably cut and pasted it.
Hellstorm.
I was thinking of the same thing.
It's a Hellstorm 74.
It's still it's effort.
That's really close. That looks a lot like BARBAPAPA.
We'll take any kind of effort, you know.
That's a good one. Yeah, just like the creators of the show.
Everybody, just send in this picture.
This is like the Kobayashi Maru. He cheated, but he wins because it's like it looks so good. Jeez.
Oh, that's funny.
Fucking BARBAPAPA, Jesus Christ.
Oh, just got another one. Okay, who's
it's tough to draw because I need a bigger template.
I need a lot of things. I need a lot of bigger things.
All right, is it Brendan? Brendan B?
Nice. What'd you give him hair for? Oh, wait, that's nuts.
What? BARBAPAPA unshaven. Oh, jeez. I like the devil horns. He's throwing up the devil horns. It's like metal hairband BARBAPAPA.
Thank you, Brendan.
My BARBAPAPA looks awful.
That's a good one, Brendan. That's great. It's like a Mr. Potato Head's illegitimate child. I love the devil horns.
Okay,
my BARBAPAPA looks like Zippy the Pinhead, like Shotzi, Shotzi from fucking.
There's another one.
No, what's that? What's the V on? Is that a vest or?
I don't know.
Who sent in that one?
I don't know. I don't see a name.
But you know what? They improved on it. Look, they improved on the already existing BARBAPAPA. This is a BARBAPAPA for the new generation.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Thank you.
Oh boy. I don't know if I can. How do I copy this? This is awful. I'm drawing this. I'm drawing this right-handed with my fucking. It's so awful.
I'm drawing one too. Jesus fucking Christ. It's BARBAPAPA. Waste of time. It's BARBAPAPA.
Now, under normal circumstances, I would tell you I can draw, but these are not normal circumstances.
These aren't normal characters.
Holy shit. All right, I'm going to send this to Johnny.
Okay, John BL. Our own.
John BL did one?
Our own John BL just sent one in. There you go. Thank you, John BL. Wow.
Okay, I'm just going to put mine up to the screen. So hold on. Okay, I'm going to hold mine up to the screen. You ready, Johnny?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. Here's Boner Papa.
Oh, come on now.
There you go.
Oh. There you go.
I sent mine to you, John. I sent it. It's on Facebook.
Okay.
Oh,
it's awful.
Wait a minute.
I drew it right-handed with my mouse.
Cobra Kai had kind of the same idea right there. There you go.
Yeah. I didn't color mine in because I don't see color. Barba vagina. That's what it looks like.
Oh,
That thing looks like Houston's labia.
Oh my.
Mr. Hailstorm. Is it
Barbapapa's like a giant clit.
Mr. Hailstorm just sent this in? There
That's
you go.
awesome.
Holy shit! Barbapapa's fucking a van.
That's awesome. Yeah, Barbapapa is backdooring a van.
While he's in Barba prison.
The Barber Shaggin' Wagon.
Holy shit.
Oh,
That's
boy.
awesome. Oh my god.
Vista. It's Vista Light 1972.
Oh,
There you go.
that's pretty good. It's not worse. It's not worse than the original.
I think I saw Vistas in the toilet earlier. It's just
Oh,
oh jeez.
Oh,
Oh
Barber,
man.
Barber
Drop the
Terminator.
Barber.
Deja Voodoo says it's a French children's book series turned into a Dutch cartoon.
I don't care what you call it. It's shitty animation. Look at that thing.
Absolutely.
That got on television.
Don't drop the Barba soap. That'd be really funny. A Barbapapa soap.
Why do I hear Barbasol, the shaving cream, except Barbasol is Jewish Barbapapa? Ugh, look at me. Ugh, I'm working on a Saturday. I should be home. It's the Sabbath already.
Welcome
There you
to
go.
Popcorn the band. Look at that.
You?
Barbapapa's representing.
Popcorn the band.
That's our logo. That's going to be our backdrop for the reunion tour.
That's definitely going to be like on the back of one of our album covers.
That's
Thank
the scrim.
Who sent that in?
Doesn't say.
Someone
that's
take
so
credit
good.
for that one. Someone take credit for that one because you deserve a shout
Yeah.
out.
Make sure you put your names. I didn't see a name on this one either.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah.
He's
Stop.
like about to eat those children.
It looks like Barba Blackhead.
Is that from the show? Is that like what the show was? Was it like
It looks like it's from the show. Yeah.
I never saw the show, so I don't know.
It looks like it's from the
John
show.
BL, we got to find some of these episodes and put them in the Discord, man. We already have a section.
Probably public domain already. Yeah. Anyone
I
who
sent
wants-
you my Barbapapa, but it looks a little like John BL.
Johnny
Oh.
post Paulie's John
It's
Barbara.
awful. It's awful, but it's funny.
The whole show is awful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Neanderthals.
Who are you gonna
Barbapapa.
call? Barba
That's my Barba. Yeah, yeah. You know, it does kind of look. It does kind of look like the Ghostbusters ghost. Now that you mention it,
It's Slimer. It's like
Slimer. Yeah.
Oh,
That's not bad.
great.
Hey, look, that's right-handed with a mouse using Microsoft Paint 3D, included in Windows 10. You can have that kind of
Nice.
artwork.
Nice. It's
Nice.
Barbapapa.
Yeah, Barbapapa was just low-budget schmoo.
Oh my God. Amanda drew a pic. She wants to know where to send it. Johnny, give the phone number out again. Text it to Johnny.
Exclamation point call in the chat.
Yeah, and
there you-
Amanda, you can send pictures my way anytime you want.
Absolutely, Amanda. Yeah. Give me a boner, Papa.
That was,
Oh.
no, come on.
I'm a-
now.
I'm
That's
a
not-
papa.
that's she's
I'm-
a married woman. Don't do that.
Oh, that's right. She's married. Yes.
Is this Sean Zimmerman? Gross. Thank you, man. I don't know.
Barbapapa's on drugs. Kids, don't do drugs.
This is your Barbapapa on drugs. Any questions? Look at his tool there. It's like a stick with two raisins. Is that
Steve Carmichael?
Is that me as
Hey,
Barbapapa?
Michael.
Steve Carmichael's Barbapapa.
Oh, look at Barbapapa giving a little Sammy Hagar love there. A little Van Halen Sammy Hagar style.
The real thing is Barbapapa.
Thank you, Steve Carmichael.
Steve Carmichael, Barbapapa.
Barbapapa.
Oh, Christ.
It's got a shit face. That's why can't you draw Barbapapa?
Tell me why can't you draw Barbapapa? I got to know why can't you draw Barbapapa?
BARBAPAPA on the video.
Ben Tom also wants to know where to send it. Johnny, say again.
Exclamation point call in the chat. Anybody
Jesus Christ,
anybody can type it and it'll put my phone number in there.
Amanda's not divorced from her first one, but she's spoken with her second one. They're lining up for Amanda Coombs. Jesus. Why aren't I that popular?
Because you don't have tits and a vagina.
Well, I got a mangina, and that's close. And tits.
I mean, I don't know that Amanda does either. I'm just assuming.
It's not up to me to check, but I do like to speculate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna. Far be it from me to put labels on anybody
or labias on everybody. I mean,
there you go. Well done.
Thank you.
I keep pitching them, and you keep hitting them, boy.
That's it, son.
Mariapapa?
Mariapapa.
Mary, is this Mary?
Mary gave us a BARBAPAPA.
Is this of Lenny Lou and Mary fame? Is this Mary?
Let's see. Hold on.
Right there.
I'm on my screen.
Oh,
wait. I'm on my screen. Wait.
Is that Mary?
She's wearing her BARBAPAPA shirt.
I'm waiting for my screen to come up. There, I got a little delay. Yeah.
Mary Papa?
That's
Mary.
Mary Papa.
What is she eating? Is that a chicken leg? What the hell? Is she dipping it in mayonnaise? What the hell is she eating?
I'll dip my meat in her mayonnaise.
What? She's putting stuff on a plate.
All right. She could put me on a platter. I love the elderly, Mary. You know that.
Oh, she says yes.
Yeah.
So that's
Mary.
That's Mary of Mary and Lenny
Look
Lou.
how pretty she is.
Right
Mary,
there.
Mary ages so well. Yeah. Thank you, Mary.
Wow, and we got gravy. Nice.
I'll make my own gravy on Mary.
Why?
Because the elderly need sex too.
And they're slow and you can run them down quickly.
I'm telling you, I'll stuff her like that Thanksgiving turkey on the plate.
I want to be stuffing Mary's muffin.
Stuff in the muffin.
Oh my gosh.
See, just when you thought it couldn't get darker than
Mary,
BARBAPAPA, we made it darker. And I blame Mary for this.
Mary will say, "Are you my daddy? Are you my daddy?" I'll say, "I'm your Barbapapa." Spanking.
Who's your BARBAPAPA? Who's your BARBAPAPA?
There's MC BARBAPAPA.
MC Barbapapa.
Right there.
Yeah, a nice. I like
DJ BARBAPAPA.
Oh, the new Chaka.
I like. I like a
that's the new
69 on my.
Chaka.
I like a 69 on my face, but not tattooed, dude.
Well, then you could have a never-ending 69, brah.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh, okay. I can't show that. But I'll send it to these guys, but I cannot show that. That's oh my gosh.
Did Mary send more nudes?
No. Oh, here's Amanda. I think this. Right?
Amanda Parpa.
Do I have to?
Okay.
Do I have to guess whose vagina is in your photo stream?
Okay, there's Amanda's BARBAPAPA right there.
It's like a chocolate chip.
That's Canadian. It's Canadian BARBAPAPA. It's got a much smaller head.
BARBAPAPA lost upper body strength. Well, it's a girl. It's a girl BARBAPAPA. It's like Booby Papa.
There you go.
Nice. Flowers. Well done, Amanda. Oh, there's Amanda. That's so awesome.
Amanda, you sent that, right?
How cool is that?
Somebody sent that in. I don't know who did that.
How did you do that? That was fast. Well done, Amanda. Mrs. BARBAPAPA. Yeah, Hugh Caldwell says, any new people tuning in for 80s metal, I can't help you. We have a lot of 80s metal to talk about. We talk about some pop culture too. We'll get to it. I have a guitar for showing.
We're pop culture.
We got some really cool stuff coming up. Don't worry. The show is yet young. I have a lot of your time to waste tonight. Trust me.
We have a tendency to become sidetracked on occasion.
Yeah, and this is one of those.
Tuesdays from 5 to 8 Pacific.
Yeah, Brian S. We got some time before the show and tell guitar. Hang on to your hats and grab your nuts.
Grab your BARBAPAPAs.
Oh, hold on to those BARBAPAPAs. I love audience participation. This is why we have the best audience on the planet. And thank you, Sandra Picorni, for picking that up. Take a second, hit the like button, hit the thumbs up. You already drew us a BARBAPAPA. Take a second. It's a lot faster to hit the thumbs up.
Oh my gosh. I don't know who said that in.
What does it say?
Yes, I am a nutsack.
Thank you.
It's Purple Papa.
Barba Purple.
All right.
If Prince was a BARBAPAPA. I love it's like we're running a second grade studio. It's like, let's see your drawings. Oh, that's beautiful. Is that a horse? It's you, Miss Hannigan. Oh, thank you. That's beautiful. Purple Nurple Papa. Nice.
All right. Wow.
All right.
I think we beat that to death.
I was about to say, I think we beat BARBAPAPA to death. That was Ben Toms. That was the last one. Thank you, everybody, for participating in our Draw Us a BARBAPAPA. That was awesome and a half. That was really great.
Okay. All right. One more.
Oh, we got one more? Okay.
Oh, really?
Crazy Cook. Crazy Cook right there.
Hey, clearly he worked hard on that. So
yeah. That was worth extending the bit.
Hard on being the key word. It's like a butt plug a papa.
It looks like Grimace. Albino like, Grimace.
Ronald, do you mind if I go up your ass?
All right, so let's recap for those of you joining the show late. We talked about Chaka and his extended temporal lobe, the see-through shirt from Holly of the Future on Land of the Lost, the fact that Davey and Goliath sucked, and Johnny Beane used to watch it with the volume down, and then a 45-minute dissertation on the value of BARBAPAPA or
lack of value of BARBAPAPA. So who do we think won that? Who gave the best BARBAPAPA? Should we all write down a name and then reveal?
I don't remember who did.
I can't remember.
Are you really expected us to take notes? You didn't tell us it was going to be.
Leave them in the chat or comments below.
Comments. There you go.
Below. Leave
Sound it out, Johnny.
There you go.
Okay, so yeah, in the comments, leave who you thought was the best BARBAPAPA. Yeah. I think you all get participation ribbons for that one.
Yeah, and I got a couple that I can't show on here, but I'll put them in the Discord because there is a Bob. What is it?
Bobbing head Papa.
There's a BARBAPAPA section in the Discord, and actually, I'll put all these. BARBAPAPA. I'll put all these in the Discord in the BARBAPAPA section.
All right, we're looking in the comments. Let's see. Amanda, and Halface. Amanda, Halface.
Ryan S says this BARBAPAPA conversation lasted longer than the BARBAPAPA TV series.
And it was funnier. And better animation.
Yeah, better animation. More time.
I think the two finalists are Amanda and Halface.
They were awful and great at the same time.
At the same time, yeah. That's great. Ben Tom says you haven't seen them all. Ask Johnny. I think Amanda got the most votes out of everyone from what I'm looking at.
I can't remember anything.
Amanda wins a special prize. Hey, Brian S is trying to get residuals for the BARBAPAPA suggestion.
Brian, send him your empty can of Bang energy drink.
Yes.
I think we have a winner. I think
Amanda's the winner.
Okay. Well, we've got a runner-up then. Who is this? This
you're asking like they can answer.
Halface looks like the runner-up.
Cobra Kai Platoon. You're gonna love this one, John. Oh, I'm getting all these messages. Late entries. Okay.
Later.
All right. You got to really look at this one. I gotta.
I can't wait. Hold on. Let me get my pants down and spit on my hand. Hold on.
Cobra Kai platoon. Okay, you really have to. You really have to look. You really have to look.
Oh, shit.
There he is.
Holy fuck.
Sorry, Amanda. That's it for you.
Jesus Christ. Knocked out of the box. Holy shit.
There's a thumbnail.
Oh my God. Holy
This is the story of BARBAPAPA.
How many of you fans of BARBAPAPA? Barbara Diamond!
They call me BARBAPAPA.
Call me
They call me BARBAPAPA.
BARBAPAPA! Wow.
Want a BARBAPAPA on my tongue.
Holy shit.
Oh, fuck me.
Palface, Amanda,
Oh,
I'm
that's so
sorry.
good.
We give you honorable mentions, but my God, there is no way on God's green earth that is not the absolute best one right there. I'm sorry. That was spec-fucking-tacular. Holy shit. That was great.
Shit.
Right now, Gene Simmons is calling his lawyers. Yeah, Cobra Kai, you came in late, but man, you came in like a fucking.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
It's my jizz towel. It's my jizz towel. Don't use that.
Holy shit, I'm gonna have a stroke.
Oh my God. Oh. Thank you for everyone participating.
Wow.
That's the winner. Hands
Wow.
And you can keep sending them like on replay. On replay. Keep
Put
sending
them
them
in.
in. Send them to that number. Put them in the
Holy
Discord.
shit.
Yeah. Without question, we got to give that to Cobra Kai.
Oh boy, that was good.
That was fan-fucking-tastic. Holy shit.
And for a nominal fee.
Thank you, SD Design. Thank you.
This is Gene Simmons from
Thank you
BARBAPAPA.
so much.
Thank you, SD Design.
Oh, that was so good.
That was masterful. Holy shit. Oh God.
It may not get better than this.
I don't think it ever can. We've peaked. That just made the show. Holy shit.
Here's something I invented that Ronnie James Dio can't take credit for.
The Barbara song.
We jumped the BARBAPAPA.
Oh boy, that was something right there.
There were a lot of good entries. I give you all credit, but that just blew my mind. My balls just dropped again.
Let me tell you about BARBAPAPA.
Do. I got a man-sized BARBAPAPA.
BARBAPAPA.
And it's a big one.
And it's a big one. This is BARBAPAPA. Hanging from my mouth.
He's going in vaginas. He's gonna see a lot. After the show, he's going in some groupies twat. BARBAPAPA.
Looks just like a scrotum. Not drawn very well.
I'm making fun of children's cartoons. We're all going to hell. BARBAPAPA.
Oh shit.
Wow. Just fucking wow. Yeah, so if you're just tuning in, we're wasting our lives at your expense. So it's still better than what's on the news today. So that was fucking fantastic.
Shit, that I mean, I'm actually glad we let that Cobra Kai last one in there, Cobra Kai platoon. Good
Holy
job.
Shit, man. Well done.
Mic drop.
Well, that's it. That was great.
Oh shit.
I feel like I need a meal. I just came.
I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. Look, I think we should stop the show at this point. There's no way it could get better than this. Or
she's on a fixed
Turn it.
income. Stop the show. Yeah, I think we should take a break to leave some thumbs up. Come on, leave a thumbs up for the Barbapapas, because that's like a band. That Gene Simmons Barbapapa was fucking great. Holy shit.
That's outstanding. Good job.
That was well done. Well done, Cobra Kai. All right.
Barbapapa guitar picks, says Braden Berglund.
Johnny, I still didn't get a text from you about your great idea.
It's
idea?
I think in Facebook.
All right, so I'll read it after the show. I'll read it after the show.
Did I get that text?
No.
You just sent it to me.
There was
Okay, I'll forward it to Paul. Let's take a second between Barbapapas and show you something very similar. Barbapapa, Swiss Picks Barbapapa edition. There we go.
Apparently, I'm getting some Swiss picks sent my way.
That is
suddenly
correct.
After weeks of begging,
and Johnny's getting a few more from
nice.
The Swiss Picks company, our good friend and sponsor of the show, Swiss Picks.
I might actually have one by mistake somewhere. And I think I mentioned this last week.
Best mistake you'll ever have.
Yeah,
These things are fantastic. If you're not familiar with Swiss Picks, you need grip. These things got them. Look at those raised holes in there. This is all I use now. I love these things.
Yeah, and I got the Jason Becker one.
Yeah,
right
this
there.
is the Jason Becker blue cheese. Look at that. Tribute to Jason Becker pick.
And then they have ones that glow in the dark as well.
That's this one. That's the Atomic.
I'm going to go grab a Pepsi, and I think I might have one somewhere that I think I talked about. I had an accident. Hang on.
These things are great. If you guys play guitar, for those of you that do that tune in, I highly, highly, highly recommend just trying some of these. They are really, really, really good for grip. They play great. They have them in all sizes. They have jazz ones. I like the regular mediums, the 80. And they have thin ones. They have heavy ones. But try these. Seriously. Sponsor of the show, friend of the show, Swiss Picks. Really fucking good picks. Try them. There you go.
Yeah.
And of course,
they're great.
Bang energy drink. Send me that sign. Look at that.
Cobra Kai. Oh, awesome. Thank you, man. Cobra Kai put that in the Discord under the
oh, cool.
Under the if you're just tuning in, this is what we're laughing at for the last 20 minutes.
Gene Simmons with a Barbapapa hanging out of his mouth. Zoom in a little closer, Johnny, so they can see the Barbapapa. If you're just tuning in, it's more people just came in. So there it is. That's the winner.
Not a Swiss pick. Thought it was a Swiss pick. Not a Swiss pick. It's
well, you're gonna have some very soon.
Just a pick with a hole in it.
No, that's not a Swiss pick, baby.
And I don't know. It's somebody's pick.
I don't care whose it is. It's not a Swiss pick.
Yeah, it's just got a hole in it. It looks like an asshole.
I hang it off my penis. That's all I do. But
it looks like an asshole.
Let's see. Kiss Nicholas says, speaking of Gene Simmons, today in History, Love Gun was released on this day in 1977.
Love Gun is an album that shows how good and bad Kiss can be, all in one 45-minute document.
I love Love Gun.
It's got some of the best stuff on the record, and it's got some of the worst shit they've ever done.
You pull the trigger of my love gun. Love that song.
I love the use of bongo percussion in Almost Human. I'm almost human. That was one of the first songs I learned how to sing like Gene Simmons.
Fucking terrific.
And I also love Plastercaster. Baby's getting anxious. The hour's getting late. And the plaster's getting harder. You're just like, wow, all right, cool. I had no idea what it meant. Nobody knew what Plastercaster was when you were 9. You're 9 years old and he's writing a song about plaster molds of a dick. And you're like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
It also has one of the greatest odes to pedophilia ever written, Christine 16 on that.
Christine 16. Yeah, when
I saw you coming out of school that day I knew It's like, what? Creepy as fuck.
That's horrible.
So creepy.
He's outside the school right now. Speaking of 16-year-old girls and older men waiting for them outside of school in creepy ways, Bang Energy Drink, our sponsor, delicious Bang Energy Drink, gives me the punch in the nuts that I need to keep going through the show. Thank you, Bang. Thank you, Bang. Yeah, no, and by the way, I got to take a second to give Paul a public apology. I re-listened to Kiss's album. What was the one, Carnival of Souls?
Yeah.
That I said was not really grunge. After the show, I literally put it on, listened to it all the way through, and I gotta give it to you. It's mostly grunge. It's mostly Kiss doing grunge.
Yeah.
I just gotta take a second. I gotta acknowledge Paul was right. I was wrong. That's it.
Wow, look at that. I accept your apology.
Thank you.
Cobra Kai Platoon actually asked, was that song a reference to Cynthia Plastercaster? It absolutely was. It's absolutely about Cynthia Plastercaster.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Who was, for those that don't know, Cynthia Plastercaster, the Plastercasters were a group of girls. I think they're in Oklahoma or somewhere in the Midwest who used to hook up with rock stars and while having sex would make a plaster mold of their dick. And apparently the prize of that is Jimi Hendrix. There's a plaster mold of Jimi Hendrix's cock somewhere out there that I'm sure will go for 7 figures at Sotheby's at some point. You know, if Kurt Cobain's acoustic guitar can go for $6 million, imagine what Jimi Hendrix's wang will bring.
Here's my dong. It's really long. I wrote it in this song. Molded in plaster, and I don't know why. Holy shit, look at the length of this guy. Do. Wow.
And the girls cry penis. Wah, wah, wah. But tell me, yeah, so there's the Plastercasters were a thing, and again, as a kid, I didn't know what Plastercaster was. It's not a Plastercaster. You're like, yeah, grab a hold of me faster. What? If you wanna see my love, just ask her. Like the background vocals are like Plaster. Can you imagine if they had a chance to do that on like the Mike Douglas show and they'd have like a chorus line singing a song about the Plastercaster?
Thank you, Amanda Coombs. And by the way, I heard Jimmy was as thick as a Bang Energy Drink can.
Oh, I see what you did there.
So, yeah. So thank you, Bang Energy Drink, for giving us a voluminous, thick can as thick as Hendrix' penis. Thank you. When you think of Hendrix' penis, think Bang Energy Drink. Thank you. They're the most tolerant sponsor.
All along my cock tower.
It's big like a tower.
Purple veins running through my dick. Oh, that's where we crossed the line, Johnny? Really? An hour and 29 minutes into this thing? That's where we crossed the line?
That's too far. That was the too far one.
That was the line. Next thing, you're going to want us to wear a mask.
And you know what? And you know what's funny? One of our audience was featured in a Jimi Hendrix song. Did you know that? Jimmy was
what?
One of our audience members was featured in a Hendrix song.
No.
And my penis cries Mary.
No. You know what I like? I like this. Brian S says BARBAPAPA was all good, but now we're off the rails. Fuck you. We're talking about music.
Yeah, I know.
Wait a second.
We talk about pop culture and we get off track onto crazy subjects, but overall, the show has a base of music and, metal and guitars and whatever. So now we're on topic and now we're off topic. Jesus. Someone has a wheelbarrow full of Jimmy's ceramic penis right now. Wow. Let's see. Paul John was Christine 16 about a girl from Cadillac, Michigan, was watching the Kissology DVD, saw the clip of Kiss invading that town and playing the high school in 1975.
It's possible. Wow. I mean, it's possible. When I saw you coming out of school that day, I love to say it's the second I knew that makes it that makes it really creepy. That day I knew I've got to have you. I've got to have you.
I knew as soon as the teacher was away.
I don't usually say things like this to girls your age. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes. That's, you know what that I don't usually say things like this to girls your age you're the rowdiest crowd we've ever played to. It's the same line.
It's funny. I just wonder if like back then that was the age of consent in like 1977 was 16.
It still is in some places.
In some places it's 14. I think it's Alabama.
Yeah, it still is in some places. In like Mississippi or some shit. Yeah.
Alabama, Gene's like, you're too old for me. I'm 15. I know.
If grass grows on the field, play ball.
Oh man. No, I love Love Gun. The title song of that was terrific.
There's some great stuff on that. I mean, it's got Shock Me on it. It does have the somewhat weak Tomorrow and Tonight.
I don't even remember that track.
Yeah, sort of. It's again, I kind of like the song, but it's in comparison, it's a throwaway. And their cover of Then She Kissed Me is another, you kind of go, eh.
That wasn't necessary. Somebody obviously liked that song, and like the band is probably. Yeah. All right. Raise your hand if you want some. And Then She Kissed Me. And Gene and Paul like are sitting like this, and Peter and Ace are like, it's like, oh, all right, fine. I will tell you, the incredibly underrated Hooligan is on that record. That's a good song.
That's a great song. Like if you ever went and grabbed Peter Criss's solo material after he left Kiss, it's really super like syrupy and shitty. When Peter Criss wanted to belt it out, he was as good as Rod Stewart. His voice was that scratchy Rod Stewart, sort of aggressive Paul Rogers, bluesy, raspy thing. And it's just a fantastic record. But again, I can do without the cover of Then She Kissed Me. I understand that Kiss did a lot of covers. I love their cover of Any Way You Want It, the Dave Clark song, but I don't like Then She Kissed Me. And I think Tomorrow and Tonight was kind of a throwaway. But other than that, I mean, 8 out of the 10 songs on that record, 8 out of the 10 songs on that record, I think are home runs. Plus, the album cover is fucking awesome.
Oh, fuck yes. That album cover is terrific. Let's give a quick shout out to 7 Over 8, our buddy Jay Hannon, the guitarist
What up, Jay?
Gizmachi.
Jay.
Gizmachi with new album out. You can check that out on Jay's, let's see, what is it? Instagram, right? Or is that the Gizmachi Instagram?
I don't know.
Jay, where are you plugging your album? Where's the new Gizmachi album? Hey, Jesus Rapes Me. Yeah, isn't that great? Right in the middle of helping Jay with a plug. I'm like, hey, Jesus Rapes Me.
I'm sure it'd be great if like he's got his kids there watching right now.
I know.
Just go, Ellie, go in your room and listen to Metallica.
Yeah. I don't want to go to church. I heard what they said on the show. Jay, where can we find the new Gizmachi album? Is it on your Instagram or on the Gizmachi Instagram?
Probably both. I would say if you go to his, it links to the Gizmachi one.
If you want some good heavy metal music, some thrashy, yummy stuff from Gizmachi. There it is. There's the link right there in the chat. So check it out. Thank you, Jay.
That'll be it all.
That's it.
That's what you said. That was back
like back to the Jesus Rapes Me show.
That'll be all, Jay. You're dismissed.
There you go.
That's exactly what that sounded like.
Thank you. Dan Halen, Deja Voodoo. A lot of people coming in. Welcome, everybody, if you're just tuning in. Yeah, so we're on Kiss's Love Gun. So, yeah, no, great stuff, man.
Yeah, no, that was it's a great record. And as I said to a friend of mine who's who used to be a record executive at like Metal Blade and some of these other like heavy metal labels. He talked about this record today. I said, it's everything good and everything bad about Kiss in one record. Like if you were to say, what is the totality of Kiss? Love Gun could do it. Destroyer has it too. I mean, think about that. That was a hell of a run. Rock and Roll Over, Destroyer, and Love Gun is as good a 3-album run as any band has ever had.
Yeah, and they kept coming out with them like pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they would release a record like every 10 months. And they did a great job. I mean, those three, again, like I said, it'd be tough. It's tough to look at a 3-album run. And that's usually what happens. Like you'll see like Aerosmith had their, Toys in the Attic, Rocks, Draw the Line, that sort of run. Not necessarily in that order, obviously. But they go on that run. A 3-album run is good. That's a good streak. Van Halen did the same thing.
I did a good streak in a supermarket the other day. I got thrown out. I was wearing a mask, so
it was a good streak in your shorts right now.
They still threw me out. Yeah, the brown streak in the back of my shorts.
Yes, Brian S. brings up a very good point. See that guy on the left? That's not Tommy Thayer. You're right. Ace Frehley, and we've talked about this before, he's one of my favorite guitar players of all time. Technically, very, very poor. But he makes things happen in an unorthodox way that makes his style unique. He fumbles and his hand positioning is wrong, but it works. And that uniqueness and that singularity of it, nobody plays like Ace Frehley. And I'm not sure that that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Very distinct, though. Very
Ace Frehley. Ace Frehley sold more Les Pauls in the 70s than Jimmy Page did.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He was the most identifiable.
Everybody.
Good night, Freaky Tony.
Good night, Tony.
Good night, Tony. He was the Les Paul guitar player of the 70s. It was Jimmy Page, took a back seat to Ace Frehley. Look at those, like from 1975 through like 1979, all those Guitar Magazine and all those things. Ace Frehley was everybody's favorite guitar player. He was the greatest guitar player in the face of the earth. He's not, but there's something about him that was singular and made that band, for what you want to say about Kiss, as overrated as some people believe they are. Again, go back and listen to that 3-album run of Rock and Roll Over, Destroyer, and Love Gun, and there's some really good shit on those records.
He's not
really good shit.
He's not a technical guy, but
no.
he's very, very melodic, and he stylized Kiss to the style that everyone got used to.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah.
Senator Bacorny brings up the Dynasty costumes. They kept changing the costumes, and some of them were just crazy. Dynasty was a real colorful time.
I actually kind of like the Love Gun costumes the most. I think, and I don't know why, but I think they sort of captured everything the right way. I thought that, I think the Dynasty costumes, like I thought Gene's was a little too busy, although I did like Ace's costume in the Dynasty era with the mirrors and the disco guitar. I thought was great for the time for what it did. Tough to top Gene's Destroyer costume with the battle armor.
I was about to say,
was pretty good.
The Destroyer and Love Gun album era was pretty much, where the Kiss dolls came from.
Yes.
And, because they were like so posed in those costumes on those 2 album covers, more than like Rock and Roll Over, which was heads, and more than Dress to Kill, which was in suits. It's like they're very distinctly Kiss in those 2 albums.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they started to lose the script on Dynasty. The capes were a little much. I think it went a little too far.
This was like, entering the disco era,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was sort of a weird thing.
Loving you, baby.
Well, it's interesting. Evo 8, you brought up, just to change the subject a little bit, that Yngwie had a 3-album killer run as well. You're right. First 3 Yngwie albums are fucking unstoppable. Fantastic records.
Was it Odyssey, Trilogy, and what was?
Well, you had Rising Force, Marching Out, and Trilogy.
Okay, well, Odyssey was later, right?
Odyssey was the 4th record. That was the one with Joe Lynn Turner, which is a great record, but a huge, it's just not indicative of how good Yngwie was. Those first 3 albums were outstanding.
Trilogy is my favorite.
Yeah, Trilogy is, but the first, Rising Force is a seminal record, and then Marching Out a little bit. Again, it's a little bit underrated, but you got, I think the Queen is the Queen in Love on that, or on Queen is in Love on that, or Trilogy?
Queen is in Love is on Trilogy.
On Trilogy, yeah. But You Don't Remember, I'll Never Forget. I mean, great songs.
Yeah, no, You Don't Remember, I'll Never Forget is also on Trilogy. I mean,
yeah.
Again, it's just my personal favorite. They're all good.
No, you're right. Yeah.
They're all good.
Yep. Same thing with, you could name a band that you love, and I bet you can find a 3-album run that's sort of the peak of their creative process. You know what I mean? For Zeppelin, it was clearly Zeppelin 4, Houses of the Holy, and Physical Graffiti. A lot of that stuff written earlier, but not released until those 3-album runs. And it's tough to pick out a 3-album run on Led Zeppelin because they were so consistent throughout their career. But hard rock bands, I mean, Guns N' Roses weren't around long enough to have 3 albums that kicked ass. If you count the Use Your Illusion records as 2 separate records instead of one sort of double album, then yes, you can see the debut and the 2 Illusion records.
It's a toss-up because they came out on the same day, and
right, but they're still documents. They're still different documents.
No, they're great. Look, I mean, Guns N' Roses are. That's actually a subject I wanted to bring up today. Someone brought up. Let's see who. Let me just look at my notes and see who brought it up specifically, so I quote them correctly. JJ French of Twisted Sister was talking in an interview, basically what we talk about a lot, which is, metal ending in the early 90s because of grunge and, what was going on in the scene, and grunge being that quick switch over. And he basically said the only 80s band that really survived through grunge, unscathed was Guns N' Roses. And I got to point out something. You could say, okay, sure, and whatever. And he says, well, I attribute it to Guns N' Roses being real, and that's what grunge was. They weren't pretending anything. Guns N' Roses was, not pretending to be drug addicts. They were drug addicts. Guns N' Roses weren't pretending to be hard. They were hard. Guns N' Roses weren't pretending to struggle. They were struggling. So, people in the grunge era liked their realness, so they accepted them. I got a different view of that. I think Guns N' Roses survived the grunge era because they didn't put anything out. 1991. Hold on. 1991, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. 1993, Spaghetti Incident. That's where it was starting to falter. And Spaghetti Incident wasn't a great album.
Nope.
And then they didn't come back out until 2008.
Well, they had that. They did the one cover of "Sympathy for the Devil" for the Interview with a Vampire movie. And then they did that one song, "Oh My God," on the Arnold Schwarzenegger. They did like a single here and there, but you're right. They didn't put out an album for another 11 years.
Were any of those hits though? None of those were hits.
Well, the "Sympathy for the Devil" was that got played a lot.
Did it? I don't even remember it.
Yeah.
I literally don't remember, but that's my view of it. I think the timing.
Aerosmith is a great example. Brian S. brings up Aerosmith absolutely made it through grunge. They released some of their biggest records in the 90s. God love them for it. I don't think they're their best records, but the argument can be made given how many records they sold in the 90s and how many awards they won. I mean, Aerosmith may be America's greatest rock band. It's Aerosmith and the Eagles, 1 and 1A.
That's hard. It. That's hard.
They may not necessarily be what our favorite, but you can't argue against the Eagles as much as I hate that band. The masses have voted, and that's the Eagles and Aerosmith have to be America's greatest rock and roll bands.
You wouldn't consider Zeppelin in there?
No, because they're English.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Is there an official poll for that?
Well, I don't even go by that because they voted Brian May greatest guitarist.
Yeah.
So I
can't think about American rock bands. I mean, to me, you can talk about Aerosmith, The Doors, Van Halen, Leonard Skinner, the Eagles, Kiss. That's sort of the big 6. Allman Brothers maybe, but not really. Leonard Skinner and the Eagles are bigger than the Allman Brothers. It's tough. I mean, it really is tough to beat the Eagles. The Eagles and Aerosmith have been bulletproof.
Yeah, Van Halen
wasn't bulletproof though.
Not bulletproof, but I mean, Aerosmith had their down times too.
Van Halen was called America's greatest band during the Hagar era.
There's an argument to be made that. It's an argument to me. The big 3 are, personally, I'd say Aerosmith, Eagles, Van Halen. Van Halen's dysfunction keeps them from being as great as they could have been. Plus, they had the Van Halen 3 record and all of that sort of screws them, that dysfunction. The Eagles, they went away for a long time, came back bigger than they ever were. And Aerosmith went away for a little bit at the end of the 70s, came back in the 80s in 1985, and haven't stopped since. They've been one of the greatest rock bands in the world since 1985 consistently.
In the chat, they're saying, let's see, 5150 Fly Guy says Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses stopped. They were, they came in the mid 80s.
Guns N' Roses.
They stopped until 2008, really. And then Bon Jovi did pretty well through the 90s and on. I have to say, they were pretty resilient. They didn't achieve success like they did New Jersey or Slippery When Wet. But even in the 90s, I have to say, they had a couple of hits going on in the grunge era.
Bon Jovi?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're not doing nothing. They haven't done anything. When's the last time Bon Jovi had a hit?
They've come up with a couple of them, actually. They have. Look it up. Bon Jovi has had hits slowly and consistently over the years. Definitely in the 90s, I remember that. And then a couple of them, even fairly recently, that one song that John had everyone else write for the COVID, that got a lot of mileage too.
There's also an argument to be made that Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers are up there as one of America's greatest bands, if not. I mean, he's another guy that has been bulletproof. Did what? Halface bring that up?
Halface brings them up. Marky FX brings up Metallica. No, Metallica got to the Black Album, I don't think.
Metallica is the greatest heavy metal band of all time.
Thrash band.
Yeah.
Heavy metal band. They're the greatest heavy metal band of all time. Thrash metal, call whatever you want. Heavy metal. There's Metallica and Black Sabbath are 1 and 1A, depending on how old you are.
Yeah,
I would give Iron Maiden some credit too.
I wouldn't consider Metallica rock.
No, they're not rock.
Is too,
but would you
too
put
thin.
Would you put them as thrash?
Who, Metallica?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely a thrash band, but metal for because they have evolved past thrash, and are doing other things. As much as we hate it, Def Leppard is an English band.
Oh yeah,
it's an English band. Maiden is an English band,
and the Scorpions and AC/DC all English.
Yeah, all English and European bands.
German.
Yeah, you're talking about Euro bands. U.S. the greatest U.S. bands. That's tough to top. Aerosmith, Eagles.
Brian S. is mad at hell Tom Petty. You saw him 10 days before he died. I'm sure he didn't mean to die, so don't be mad at him. He's not happy either. He's not enjoying himself either.
5150 Fly Guy says that the U.S. has never had a huge band like AC/DC. That's wrong. That's incorrect. The Eagles are that big. The Eagles are a stadium band, multiple nights at a stadium. Hell, Bruce Springsteen is a stadium band, multiple nights. Make no mistake about it. I hate both of those artists. I hate Bruce Springsteen and I hate the fucking Eagles, man, to quote the dude. I don't like Paulie. Yeah, I don't like either of those, but ZZ Top, never as big as the Eagles. Never as big. Great band. In fact, maybe the longest running band without a lineup change. They hold the record for the band that has been together the longest without a lineup change.
They're a rock band, but not a hard rock band.
I didn't say the Eagles. No, didn't say hard rock. 5150 Fly Guy.
No,
we didn't say hard rock. We said rock band.
They're rock. Okay, they're rock.
I mean, there's an argument to be made that
Teenage
Jail is a hard rock song.
A couple of back to Christine 16.
Christine 16.
A couple of bands. I mean, again, I'm obviously biased toward Kiss and Van Halen and certain bands and Aerosmith. I could say I'm biased towards certain ones over others, but I can't deny the Eagles what they're due. I have to say that
Eagles, they're the biggest worldwide. Everybody knows who they are. We may not like them, but we're aware of them. They're massive. They've had massive success. Their album sales.
The greatest hits album, I think, is that's one of the top three albums.
Top 2 or 3. It's usually Thriller, Eagles' greatest hits, and Dark Side of the Moon. Go back and back and back. Okay. Yeah, they go back and forth. And they've been on the charts forever. That Eagles' greatest hits records has sold more copies than anything but Thriller. I mean, it really is massive. Hendrix is not an American band. 2/3 of the band were English.
Journey didn't really last long, though.
No, they had and they don't stand up the test of time. They're not as big as the Eagles. They're a great band, great American band. Not as big as the Eagles.
A lot of their music does. I have to say,
Yeah.
a lot of their songs keep coming back up. You know,
but the Eagles are still playing stadiums. There was never a time when the Eagles flamed out. Eagles were when they got big. Once they got big, stadiums. Every time they broke up, came back, stadiums. Journey is played country fairs. They played theaters. They played small venues. The Eagles have never dropped off. Ever.
Dane Zimmerman brings up, of all the 80s musicians still alive, who would be our greatest loss? I would say Eddie Van Halen.
Of all the 80s musicians, Ozzy.
Yeah. Ozzy's a good one too.
Yeah, Ozzy. You know, his peak.
Or Gene or Paul.
Yeah, Ozzy is bigger as a solo artist than Black Sabbath were as a band.
Definitely.
Yeah. The idea that Ozzy's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a solo artist is an absolute abomination.
The Hall of Fame is such a fucking joke.
I understand that. Brian asks, we're on a different question. The question is, what greatest 80s artist would be our biggest loss? Ozzy is British. Yeah, you're right. We're not talking about that.
No, but that's a good point.
Different question. Foreigner is half English, metal soda, not American, half English.
So are we going? Who would be the biggest loss of American 80s?
No. There's two questions out there right now.
Right.
There are two questions. Who would be the biggest 80s artist if they died? The biggest loss. And the other question was the one we asked earlier, which is, what is America's greatest rock band? Okay. America's greatest rock band, not metal band, not hard rock band.
I'm going to say Van Halen. Both questions.
I would disagree. I think the Eagles have always been bigger than Van Halen.
Again,
I love Van Halen, Johnny. You know, my favorite band, but everybody knows who the Eagles are. The Eagles, every Karen and Brad and Chad and Trevor and your father and grandfather and grandmother.
And how many hits? I know they had a lot of hits, but how many people actually know more than 2 songs?
If I hear the
Eagles,
if I hear Hotel California one more fucking time, I hate that song so fucking much. It's like that line alone. Says to the captain,
Johnny,
bring me my wine. It's like,
Johnny, I'm gonna do this to you. Here we go. Hotel California, New Kid in Town, Lion Eyes, I Can't Tell You Why, Peaceful, Easy Feeling, Take It to the Limit, One of These Nights, Life in the Fast Lane, Desperado, Witchy Woman, Heartache Tonight,
Desperado,
In the City, Already Gone,
7,
Best of My Love, Tequila Sunrise.
8. I only know 8 of those songs.
Yeah, because you're not the masses.
No,
you're not mass America, a worldwide audience. Those songs
I should be, but
those songs are huge.
Look at this.
I hate the fucking Eagles.
John Bale just sent this in. This is a picture of the Eagles live. This is a picture of one of the Eagles concerts.
Right.
What's going on there?
Wow.
Right. Well, technically they didn't sell out because no one in the back.
Yes, exactly. Technically.
Yeah, but they don't sell seats in the back.
Yeah,
John Bale, that's insane, man.
Yeah, that's big.
I can't even.
Popcorn.
You're not listening, 5150 Fly Guy. You're not listening.
But listen, Paulie, Popcorn, the band could do that type of audience.
Well, yeah.
The back half, we could absolutely do just like that.
We've played to that amount of people. We've played to that audience regularly. That back half, all the time. That's every night for us
in smaller clubs, so we save money.
Right. 5150 Fly Guy is still hung up on the. I don't think they're hard rock. I never said they were hard rock. America's greatest rock band. The Doors should be mentioned, but they're not because their time was so short. But the Doors are one of America's great, and I hate Ray Manzarek's keyboard sound. Hate it. But
5150 JT, yeah, Bon Jovi, Who Says You Can't Go Home, was a big hit. Like I said, there are later Bon Jovi hits, absolutely.
Yeah, but Bon Jovi's not bigger than the Eagles.
They're not bigger than the Eagles. They're not bigger than the Eagles. I got to say that. Oh, you know, again,
just not.
The sales on that greatest hits speaks volumes. That's it. You know.
Yeah, no, that band is they're just, and I hate the Eagles, hate them. But the undeniable are undeniable.
Yeah, look, you know,
I mean, you just, it's ridiculous. Either one guy if either one guy owns 50 million copies of that greatest hits record and has them stored in his basement, or somebody like them. Grateful Dead aren't as big as the Eagles. The Grateful Dead are the greatest cult band ever.
Yeah,
they are the greatest. They are the greatest fan base in the history of music.
Them, Fish, and who are the Parrot Heads again? Who has the Parrot Heads?
Jimmy Buffett
and
Jimmy
Buffett. Those three. Those three are your big three bands. The Dead, I'd say the Dead, Jimmy Buffett, and then Fish are your three cult bands.
The Grateful Dead are a religion. I mean, they literally are. I mean, that their fans, it's a religion and have been since day one. And anything that the Grateful Dead's side projects do, Hot Tuna or any of the other things that, Jorma Kaukonen or any of the guys that were connected to the Dead, there's a culture around that. There's an umbrella of bands that the Grateful Dead are sort of like the father figures of, and there's like a family tree of bands that continue to have fans that travel the world to see them. There's nothing like a Deadhead.
Cobra Kai
it's a good thing to sell.
Cobra Kai brings up Billy Joel. Billy Joel, terrific following, terrific artist, Long Island boy. So from my hometown,
the Jewish Elvis,
still not up to the level of the Eagles. Of the Eagles, but I see where you're talking. I don't disagree with you.
Evo 8 asks, which band do you consider the greatest band of all time? It's the Beatles. They're the measuring stick.
Braden Berglund, do not bring up Nirvana.
They're the measuring stick.
It lasted as long as my cock is, which my cock is not very long. So,
when you're the measuring stick, you're the greatest. When you're the band that everybody is matched against, you're the greatest.
Yeah, the Beatles is number one.
Yeah, they're the greatest band of all time.
No matter what, and they always will be. You can't
argue it. They changed the world at a level that we're still talking about.
Oh, wait, you know what? Oh no, actually the Rolling Stones are British. Okay. Rolling Stones are British.
Yep. It's an interesting. The other interesting is, who is the first American heavy metal band?
Sabbath?
People like no, they're English. People like to say Blue Cheer, but Blue Cheer was a psychedelic band that had one song that says, that people, Summertime Blues, which is an Eddie Cochran song. The argument to be made, the way heavy metal was defined originally in the 60s and early 70s, there's an argument to be made that Blue Oyster Cult are the first American heavy metal band before Kiss.
I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, I could define Kiss as like a hard rock heavy metal band,
I understand. I know what you're saying, but look at the definition as to when the term began in the late 60s. And then think of bands that fit that term. There's an argument to be made that Blue Oyster Cult and Kiss are, and I would say Kiss, but it's tough if Blue Oyster Cult did come first.
I'd give it to Kiss more. Kiss was rock out of the gate. Blue Oyster Cult, it's
I don't think Steppenwolf wasn't a metal band.
Born to Be Wild,
still not a metal band. Hard rock song, just like when the Beatles did Revolution. Revolution is a metal song. Helter Skelter is a metal song. But they're an English band.
Both Sandra and Brian are fighting me on Kiss being a metal band.
And Steppenwolf is Canadian.
Yeah. Both Sandra and Brian are fighting me on Kiss being a metal band. They're both.
Sure they are. Sure they are.
They're a metal band. It depends what era you're looking at. They're a hard rock band out of the gate, and they're a metal band through the 80s.
They're also grunge.
Let's not do that. Blue Rhino Cult. Yes, Blue Rhino Cult was clearly the first metal band. Blue Rhino Cult. Ooh.
No, I believe that the definition of heavy metal has certainly changed over the years. I mean, if you're going to say Kiss isn't a heavy metal band, then you have to say Black Sabbath isn't a heavy metal band, because it's essentially the same thing.
According to Google, Black Sabbath is the band that invented heavy metal.
There's an argument to be made for that.
According to Google,
I would say that. Yeah. I would absolutely say Tony Iommi.
The three, well, because they were the first ones to play downtune because of Tony Iommi's finger situation. But look, the big three of heavy metal: Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, and Deep Purple. Everything heavy metal and hard rock can be traced back to one of those three bands. Everything. And then, to a lesser degree, afterward, Motorhead invented thrash metal.
I'm also going to chime in with Hendrix, because Hendrix was the guitar hero. He was the original guitar hero.
Absolutely. Yeah, he was the first guy that was Eric Clapton was part of an ensemble. Jimi Hendrix was the first guy where you went, oh my God, this guitar player is phenomenal. Pete Townsend and The Who were probably the first punk band. The Who and the Kinks in England, and the MC5 and the Stooges here in the United States probably invented punk. But when you talk about the first guitar hero, it's got to be Hendrix.
That's what I say. And
he's the measuring stick.
In more ways than one, as that plaster says. So
Les Paul there's a great example as the first guitar hero. You're right. He had a television show, but it's a different culture. It's a different culture.
Ben Tom says, Grandma says, in my day, we only had heavy metal poisoning and your granddad's cock, which I named my heavy metal bone. And thank you, Ben Tom's grandma. We appreciate your viewership.
You're wrong, Brian S. Kiss is heavy metal. Deuce is a heavy metal song. Strutter is a heavy metal song.
Yeah,
Kiss is a heavy metal band.
I have to argue. I got to say they're metal. I do. I mean,
they're metal.
They're out of the gate hard rock, and and then they just kept going and going. And there's so much metal music out of them. Depending on what era. You can't tell me you're listening to Vinnie Vincent solos and not call that heavy metal. You can't.
Kiss was ranked by MTV as the 9th greatest metal band.
There you go.
I mean, Firehouse is a metal song. Cold Gin is a metal song. Those are metal songs. Now, that said, there's Black Diamond is a metal song. Black Diamond is as good as anything Judas Priest ever wrote, and that's on their first album in '74. So,
yeah. So I won't disagree. I'm sorry. They're
Parasite. Parasite is almost a thrash metal song, a speed metal song.
Yeah, I mean, even Love Gun. Just listen to the guitars on that.
Yeah, see, 5150 Fly Guy. Yes, Kiss is now considered hard rock, but that's because thrash metal and speed metal and death metal and doom metal and all of the subgenres
of
so heavy
many
metal
genres now
didn't exist at the time Kiss came out. There was only heavy metal, and the bands that did it were Black Sabbath and Deep Purple in Europe and Led Zeppelin, and in the United States, Blue Oyster Cult and Kiss were the big American heavy metal bands in the 70s. And then, to a lesser degree, Aerosmith became considered a heavy metal band, even though they never were. They were a hard rock band, but that's because the genre evolved. But heavy metal from its beginning was a completely different animal, and that animal was Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, Kiss, Blue Oyster Cult. Some people say Ted Nugent.
Yeah, I remember getting these books because I was a big rock and metal collector growing up, and I remember getting books about the history of metal, heavy metal, and all the bands in there were all those bands,
right?
All those bands that I wouldn't consider metal myself. But,
not today.
Yeah, well, even then I didn't. But
that's because you're. How old are you, Johnny?
I'm
29.
Right. And that's why.
I know.
Nice. All right, well, look.
But it's look, all of that is a fun argument to have, but all we're doing is delaying seeing this amazing guitar that John Mancuda has underneath his bed right now.
Absolutely.
In a cardboard box. Well, John Biel brings up a good point.
That's my Fleshlight collection.
Oops. John Biel brings up a good point. Rush were considered a metal band early on in their career. That first Rush album in 1974 is a metal record. I mean, Working Man sounds like Black Sabbath.
Mr. Hellstorm 74 said Montrose. They were heavy too early on.
They were considered heavy metal. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we could go on and on, but you're right. It is show and tell guitar time, boys and girls. So take a second, if you would. How many thumbs up do we have right now?
67.
67.
Let's get up to 75.
Let's bring it up just for shits and giggles before I show the guitar. Hit the thumbs up button right now on your video. I want to at least see 75, please. I have a very cool
69.
vintage Charvel today. My favorite.
69.
Yeah! Yeah!
Dude!
69!
That's Ronnie, the limo driver. 69.
69!
71.
Whatever.
Come on. So I was saying, while you guys are hitting that like button, I have a very cool vintage Charvel today. It's one actually that my buddy requested me to bring on today. I had planned on something else, but he texted me and he said, could you please bring on this specific guitar I know is in your collection. It's a favorite of mine. Would you mind bringing it onto the show tonight? So I said, absolutely. So my buddy Craig, this one's for you. We had 75 yet?
73.
2 away.
If we could reverse those other ones, we'd be there.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Please.
That's the
why do we have thumbs down? What do we have
I'll tell you why, because it's the board of directors from Bang Energy Drink.
Oh, it could be, yeah.
Or what are those things called?
BARBAPAPA?
Or the BARBAPAPAs.
It's the Barber family. They're like, we don't like you making fun of us.
6 BARBAPAPas. 7. Oh, now we have 7. Thank you.
Boner Papas. Oh, great. Thanks. Thank you, Mom and Dad. Dad's in the hospital. Give me my phone. Gotta leave with thumbs down. You fuck.
This is my last dying moment. I have to kick him in the balls one more time, John.
Before I lose that leg, I'm gonna,
yes. Do me a favor. Take this leg off and shove it up my son's ass.
Can you FedEx this leg on ice to Hollywood and send it up my son's ass like a fucking torpedo?
Oh, that got dark.
Thanks, Dad. We're trying to save this leg right now. We're trying.
75.
All right.
And we have 100 watching. 100
It's
watching.
time.
75.
You can keep the thumbs coming up, by the way. We appreciate it. Yeah. We don't want you to stop, so we appreciate it. Okay. So again, this is request from my buddy Craig. It's a vintage Charvel. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Johnny. Ooh, look at that thing. Ooh, pretty. Fucking hell.
You know what that reminds me of?
I'll tell you exactly what this reminds you of before you even tell me.
Okay.
The poster for the movie Rock of Ages. Is that what you were thinking? No?
No.
No, because the twin of this, they made, the Charvel Custom Shop made a replica of this guitar for that movie.
Oh, okay.
So if you look on the movie poster of Rock of Ages, you will see a guitar that looks literally like this one. It's just a newer custom shop made to look like a vintage Charvel. So go ahead, Johnny. What does this remind you of? I'm curious.
I was going to say that reminds me of an Ibanez Roadster.
Get the fuck
a little
out.
bit, yeah.
With the binding?
Oh, what? Oh, what? Well,
an Iban had.
Boys and girls, this is a San Dimas Charvel Pre-Pro. So basically what this is, and look at the flame on this fucking thing.
Doesn't really pop on the camera the way you think it does.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it doesn't look, it's not picking up on the camera the way you want it to. I know what you're seeing, but the camera doesn't.
So it's like,
yeah, the camera doesn't grab it.
Nightmare. I'm trying to, like a girl to my penis. It just doesn't grab it. No matter how much I want it to. It doesn't grab
I'll assume those are Dimarzios in it.
Yeah, these are early Dimarzios, basically early Super Distortions.
Yep.
So this is about a 1980, 80-81. Excuse me, 80-81. I believe it's an 80 actually. Thank you. Thank you, Bang Energy Drink, for that burpalicious You know, no, I believe it's an 80 because it has the gold logo. If you look at the logo, it has the tiny logo. These eventually became black. These little Charvel logos. This one's gold, so it was the earlier one. And you have the early crown head tuners on it.
And it appears to have been before, you know, again, lawsuit headstocks.
Yeah, definitely lawsuit headstock. This is a pre-pro, and why they call it a pre-pro was this was before they started numbering them. You notice the back plate started off black and wore down to its bare metal. Now these were either black, with black coated with silver or bronze or brass rather, brass on the back. But no numbers. There's no serial number on these. So these were called pre-pros, standing for pre-production. When the production started numbering them, they started giving 5-digit numbers briefly, and then said, you know what? Too complicated. Let's go down to 4 digits. And they started with number 1001 in 1982. And that's basically where it started getting numbered in 1982. And it went that way up till 1986. They ended with number, I think, like 5492, something around there, something just under 5,500. And they're really, really desirable because these things play like the hand of God himself. These things are so smooth. These are what the Super Strats, all the Super Strats afters are modeled after these. These are what BC Rich Gunslingers tried to be. These are what Kramer's tried to be. These were really, really fast necks. Basically, they started as the idea that Charvel wanted to build Fender Strats, but with the humbucker pickups, you know, again, a la Van Halen, a la early George Lynch, and really wanted a hot rod, a Fender Strat with humbuckers. They wanted to make faster, thinner necks and better, louder pickups and effects and boosters. And
well, it was essentially them reacting to Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah, basically. Well, here's the thing: Halen's early guitar. You know, you're talking Mighty Mite, and you're talking Charvel, and you're talking that was basically where that came from.
Right, I know. Yeah, you know, and you got to understand that's if that's in 1980, the Van Halen record came out in 78. We started to see Stratocasters with humbuckers in them, and yet that was a modification. So Charvel says, "Hey, let's put one out, a production model that people don't have to modify."
Well, he started doing these in 78. Charvel started doing them in 78, and then they went like this until 1981 when they started doing the 5-digit serial numbers. Then in 1982 they started with the regular, as you know them today, serial numbers. The pickups, Dimarzio Super Distortions, 2 of them, one in the neck, one in the bridge, brass V-trem, brass knob, 3-way switch, and 2 boosters, by the way. 2 boosters. So do you want it loud or do you want it louder? Really cool. And again,
are they boosters or taps?
Those are boosters.
Oh.
On this particular one. And again, skunk stripe neck. This is a sign of an early Charvel. This is one way to tell a real Charvel, because a lot of pre-pros were fake. They were so popular and so easy to fake that there's certain distinct things that you're looking for. The pre-pro stripe. This is the skunk stripe on there. Another thing is the spacing of the dots. If you look at these, they're really close together on the 12. Do you notice how close they are together?
Yeah.
The fakes have them further apart. And if you see enough of these, you could start telling.
Frets look like they're still in pretty good shape. Did you refret that?
No, this is original. They're a little flat, but they're not dug in. It they're
not ridged out.
Yeah. So it's real nice. And again, it's a bound flat top. They had regular strap bodies too. I love the bound flat tops with the flame. It's really hard, unfortunately, on this camera with this lighting to capture the flame. But just trust me, it's a real deep flame top. It's just really hard. It's really hard to just capture. I'm trying my damnedest, but it's just hard with the lighting and stuff and the color. It's a blue burst, which I just really, really love with the white pickups and the white binding. The neck is a nice thin D shape, very fast oiled maple neck. And I left it dirty because I love dirty maple. Dirty maple, all that grit, it makes it fast and smooth and broken in and just feeling like an old pair of tennis shoes. They really, really play nice. Let's see. Looking through the chat. Let's see. Questions I told you. Dimarzio Super Distortion. Okay. Let's see. Neck looks well played. Yeah, it's well broken into. But again, it's not.
Here's the thing: if you took that Charvel logo off the headstock, you would swear it's an HM Strat, because the body is a heavy metal Strat.
No, I'm saying you're talking the Fender HM Strats.
Yeah. Because if you look,
those are different. These are bound flat tops.
I understand what you're saying, but the body shape is Stratocaster. I mean, the thickness of the body, because it's literally, if you took the name off that headstock and somebody saw that guitar from a distance, they would say Fender Strat, heavy metal Strat. No,
they wouldn't say an HM Strat. You never have like a bound flat top with flame and a blue burst on a heavy metal Strat. Heavy metal Strat.
But you can't see the flame on the camera.
But either way, I mean, you could sooner say it was like, some other type of Strat body, not an HM Strat.
I would say Ibanez Roadster.
Well, there you go.
Similar distance.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, the Roadster, I mean, I had that, what was that? What was that Reb Beach one I brought on a few weeks ago?
I don't know. See, look at this.
And yeah, by the way, Metal Soda brings up the early ones, 21 frets. A little later, around 1982, 83, they're 22 frets. So that's another thing. And then in 83, 84, they got the cease and desist on the lawsuit headstock from Fender. Fender said, no way, since Charvel started doing a pointy head in 1983. So you'll start seeing these go away. So
yeah. See, look, here's an Ibanez Roadster right here.
Still a different body shape. Very different body shape.
Well, different, but I mean the color with the binding is what
even the color, it's not. You know what? Bring up the Rock of Ages poster. The shape is totally different.
Yeah.
And the color
the trim is awful.
It just reminds me. Oh yeah, those trims are terrible. Yeah. No, I'm just saying it just reminds me. Reminds me of it.
Bring up Rock of Ages, the movie. The movie adapted from the play. Just got to look in the chat.
Based on
John BL wants to know where the Floyd is. The pre-pros mostly came with a V-Trem because, again, real Floyds were over at Kramer. They were licensed by Kramer first. So if you wanted a Floyd on something like this, you had to bring it yourself, and they would put it on for you. But they didn't offer them for sale. Kramer did.
I will tell you that V-Trem, I mean, they still have them on the newer Mexican Charvels. It is a stable trim. You don't need to lock it. It stays pretty well in tune as long as you've got the enough graphite up in the nut, to keep the strings lubricated. It's that trim is reliable. I mean, obviously you can't beat the bag out of it like you would a Floyd, but if you're going to do some bending here and there, that trim is just fine. It'll do the job for you.
Some of the Charvel custom shops still come with a V-Trem. The one I had on a few weeks ago during the diabetes episode had a V-Trem.
My Pro Mod has a V-Trem on it.
Uh-huh. So Johnny, zoom in on that blue guitar. That's the one I'm talking about. They basically looked at the photo of this online because it was on a popular Charvel website, and they said make that guitar.
Yeah, let me pick another one because I'm zoomed all the way.
Okay, zoom. Ben Tom, yeah, 1982 was the year, and the first serial number, 4-digit serial number, was 1001. This was before serial numbers came out, pre-pro. Let's see.
Oh, here we go.
Well, 5150 Fly Guy, that trim is in use today by Fender because Fender owns Charvel. So, when you buy that, you could. That's what it happens a lot of time. A lot of these companies will buy up other smaller boutique guitar companies and then take that concept and apply it to their guitars. Fender's 2-point trem that they were using to replace the 6-point vintage trem, that 2-point floating trem that Fender's using is directly copied from G&L's design, which is Leo Fender's original design.
Jim Nicholas asked a very interesting question. It's a bad photo of it, but it's the right guitar. Yeah, because it's literally Blueburst Tiger wood like this one, but you can't see it in that photo.
Blueburst flame.
I was saying Jim Nicholas asked a very interesting question. He says, "Is the nut a bone nut or a computer chip?" And basically, what it is, this particular one is bone, but he makes a good point. A lot of the early pre-pro Charvels used computer board material for the nut. So not this particular one. This one's bone, but a lot of other pre-pros. And mind you, real pre-pro Charvels like this are rare. There's only from 78 to 1980. There's to 1981 rather. There's about 750 of them made in total. So you'll see a lot of fakes. You'll see a lot of ones that, maybe it won't have the skunk stripe. Maybe it won't have the dots measuring right, or some other giveaway clue that it's not a real one. But you'll see a lot of them that have just, real telltale signs that it's a real pre-pro Charvel. And it's one of only about 750. They're not numbered, but the old records exist showing about how many were built, and it was about 750. So
now, how do you track one without a number? Is there something inside the cavity or on the neck?
There's a lot. Date? There are telltale things. I don't want to give them all away, but if you pull the neck, there's certain codes and signatures in the body cavity and on the heel of the neck that do give build codes. Name, initials, dates.
Yeah, there's got to be a way to track it.
Certain handwriting styles, certain writing implements. Like there's one guy that wrote specifically in red marker. I'm not going to say who it was, but guys like Mike Shannon and all the guys that early on worked with Charvel and Jackson. Those guys signed stuff in there and wrote codes, and a lot of proof exists of what's what that you can disprove just on site. Some of them, like I said, the easiest giveaways are the 2 dots. If they're spaced close together, that's a good sign, and the skunk stripe on the back of the neck, that's a good sign. But there are other things. And of course, you look at the pots. If the pots say 1980, that's a good sign too. That's another clue. But always pull the neck, look in the heel, look in the neck pocket, and you'll see certain codes you get to know, or you could ask someone like me or other, Charvel collectors that know all that stuff and have other examples of it. I got this from my buddy Tracy, and he took real good care of it, and I am thrilled to own it. Brass hardware. If you look, those brass strap locks are very distinctive at the time. The brass knobs, also the brass V-trem. Mm-hmm. And again, those early crown head tuners also were used on those.
This is the closest I can get to it. This is just
there you go.
But yeah,
even on that one, it's hard to tell the flame on the top. You gotta trust me. Like I said,
it's kind of it's a cartoon too. I mean, it's not.
No, that's a real photo. That's not a cartoon. That's a real photo of the guy holding the guitar.
But I mean, it's kind of
digitize it to make it look.
Yeah.
I see.
Anyway,
but you can see it's basically modeled after this specific guitar.
Yeah,
it's modeled to look like it.
Oh, the guy's wearing a Kiss shirt.
Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't want it?
They're a disco band.
Time to pay up a nominal fee.
A nominal fee.
Yeah, and keep in mind, guys that played early Charvels, a lot of them. You're talking, again, Eddie Van Halen, George Lynch. These bodies were made by either Charvel or Mighty Mite, Jakey Lee also. What's his name? Warren Diamartini, very big early player of these. A lot of guys back then were looking for these. These were the original real super Strats. And then you had other things, you know, from Charvel. Jackson broke off with Randy Rhoads and started the Jackson, you know, Jackson / Charvel division. You know, Kramer, of course, BC Rich, you know, started doing Strats later on, because previously they were all the handmade weird shapes until their ST. And you know, this is real groundbreaking predecessor to a lot of super Strats. These San Dimas Charvels in San Dimas, California, were the original super Strats. They're really desirable. They're hard to track down, a lot of them, but they're really, really, really great players.
Technically Glendora.
If you cross the street,
Yeah.
it also depends the time, because they later moved to Ontario.
The zip code though changed too. They had a San Dimas zip code. That was the mailing address, but technically they were in Glendora, which of course we know that Grover Jackson used for the name of his new San Dimas model when he started making guitars again before he hooked up with Friedman.
And let's see, Evo 8 wants to know, what's my favorite signature guitar? I mean, there's a lot of them. You know, out of the gate. I mean, you could say, you know, the ESP Lynch Kamikazes are great. I like those. The let's see, the Vandenberg, the PV Vandenberg is a great signature guitar. There's a lot of cool stuff out there. It all depends what your tastes are. You know, oh, Amanda Coombs just got back. So let's say here you go.
Tough to top a gem for me. A gem or
the
gem
is a great one too.
Or the Ernie Ball Music Man Van Halen's are fantastic guitars.
I'm not as into those. I'll give you the gems though. I mean, I bought mine out of the gate when they first came out. So
yeah, I don't like, and we talked about this on the Saturday show. I'm not a huge fan. I wasn't a huge fan of the shape of the Ernie Ball when it came out, because I don't like Telecasters, and it has too much of a Telecaster feel to me. But when you pick one up and you play it for a while, all of a sudden you learn to just sort of adjust to it, and you find yourself falling in love with the guitar because it's so playable. So you get over it. But yeah, I mean, the gem, first time you touch it, it begs to be played fast, and I'm not good enough to play fast on that guitar. It's like having a Porsche not being able to drive a Standard, you know?
Speaking of stroking and fast, Amanda Coombs is asking how thick it is. Oh, wait. How thick is the neck? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Amanda, oh, come on now.
The neck is. I'm sorry, Amanda.
It's
a thin D. It's a thin D shape. It's a nice thin D shape. It's pretty wide. It's flat. It's very, very nice. Again, these are so easy to play. Gunslingers were modeled after these by BC Rich. All the Kramers tried to get their later necks like this. I mean, this is the standard. This is the industry standard. If you wanted a super Strat, you want it to play like an early San Dimas Charvel, especially a pre-pro when they had the Fender Strat headstocks.
Yes.
Let's see.
And that Charvel neck is what Grover Jackson now has the template for, the jig for, that he's making those Friedman guitars using the same dimensions as that neck. So some of the the dimensions are the similar. You know, obviously the headstock is different, but the neck itself feels very similar as well, because Grover Jackson, when he sold everything off, kept his jigs and kept all of the tools that he used to work those necks. So if you buy a new Grover Jackson or any of the Friedmans that he designed by hand, and which he does, he still builds guitars by hand, you will get a neck very similar to one of those vintage Charvels. Obviously, age and time and the wearing in of a neck seasons it like a chef would have a seasoned pan or any sort of a baseball glove that's been worked in or whatever it is. It's not going to feel quite as comfortable because somebody has put years of sweat into it. But new off the rack, the best neck you can get is on some of the newer Charvels, because they've used the old Charvels as a template, and anything that Grover Jackson makes for Friedman are great necks now.
Well, I just got to point out to you though, actually Grover doesn't have the early neck templates. What it was is Charvel has them. Charvel used them in 2019 to recreate the 40th anniversary recreations of those first 11 made. And they used the original templates, the original jigs, the original tools. What Grover uses is actually based on the pre-pro Van Halen guitar, the red and white one that Eddie drew all over with a marker that I have, that I brought on the show. He has a retooled jig, a retooled, I guess, neck mold or whatever, based on that guitar I had on the show, because it was lent to him for that Grover Jackson Legacy series that Charvel did years ago. So what it was is he borrowed that neck because he felt there was a great representation of an original early pre-pro Charvel neck, made, you know, whatever molds, measurements, whatever, of that neck, and built those Grover Jackson editions from that neck. But the original tooling is still with, or part of it at least, is still with Charvel, the company. The custom shop has those original tools,
but they don't use them. They don't use them on any production guitars,
right? But they did for those custom shop 11 40th anniversary editions. They broke them out and they used those. They were showing them using those. And again, you know, Wayne Charvel had certain, you know, there were a couple of them. Wayne had some, Grover had some, Charvel custom shop has most of them. But that's basically how it broke down. And then at some point, someone asked, Sean Zimmerman brought up in the chat, why did Jackson come off as an offshoot name, even though it was the same company as Charvel? What it was is Randy Rhoads wanted something radical. He wanted the Concord design that he drew on a napkin for Grover Jackson and said, hey, can Charvel make me this? And Grover said, yes, but I'm worried that if people see you play it and it's a failure, I don't want to ruin the Charvel name, because we're cranking along right now. They were really popular right about then. So what he did, he says, let me make it under my own name. I will put Jackson as the brand. And that's how the Jackson division of Charvel got started, because Grover didn't want to take the chance that it would be a failure. Instead, the Concord was successful. People liked the look of it. Randy said, hey, make these adjustments. And he had it for 3 months, the first Rhoads guitar, which was the black and brass Rhoads, before he unfortunately passed away with the plane crash. And then, you know, 1 year later, after a little, you know, wait time, he approached Dolores Rhoads and said, hey, I'd like to keep the Jackson name going with this guitar as a tribute to Randy. We're going to call it the Rhoads guitar. I'd like to make this production guitar under the Jackson Guitar Company name. Dolores agreed. They worked out a you know, I'm getting a piece of each guitar, and Jackson was born. So that's why you have Charvel and Jackson.
And the interesting thing is Fender still owns both brands. And so the Charvel brand tends to be the more traditional San Dimas and Pro Mods and those things that are almost, you know, they're a little bit more extreme than your regular Fender Strat,
right?
But not quite as extreme as the Jackson Strat. So what you have is the Jacksons tend to be the 24 fret and a little bit more hotter pickups and a little bit more angular and a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more shredder, heavy metal side. You know, the heavy metal more than shredder. Obviously, the Charvel is the shredder guitar. So they have different degrees of it, and they just slapped a different name on them, all essentially made in the same factories, some of them in Asia, some of them in Mexico. And some of the EVH brand, everything on the EVH brand that is Mexican is a Mexican Charvel. They're made in the Charvel factory, and they get the EVH logo slapped on them. But there's not a whole lot of difference between a Charvel San Dimas and the EVH. The difference is really the paint job. They're the same guitar and the pickup. If they're
not the USA ones,
right? That's what I'm saying. If it's a Mexican made one, it's a Charvel.
Because here's what happened in
the art series. They were Charvels.
Yeah, the art series are American,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have those. The Charvel art series are great, phenomenal guitars.
What happened in 1986? I was mentioning they were made in San Dimas until 1986, and with I think I said it was like number 5492 or something around there. Production stopped in San Dimas on the Charvels. The company moved to Ontario, and what happened at that point was once they were in Ontario, they just decided to make all the USA's Jackson. And Charvel's was switched to do only as an import brand. So they changed the Charvel's to what was called the Model Series. The Model Series, Model 1, Model 2, Model 3, etc., was the designation for a style of guitar, were all made imported, while the Jacksons were still made in the USA.
And you can tell the Model Series because it says Charvel, and then in small letters it says by Charvel Jackson.
Correct. And
those are the Model Series.
And they changed the logo to a toothpaste logo, as a big toothpaste script kind of logo at that point.
Yeah.
But also, when Fender finally bought the company back, they started making Charvels in the USA, and they allowed that headstock, which was a big selling point.
The interesting thing about that, and it's funny that they do this because Fender still owns, they own Charvel now.
They do now.
Yet when you get a Charvel guitar, on the back there'll be a sticker on that headstock, a decal that you can remove that says this headstock design licensed by FMIC, Fender Musical Instrument Corporation. They still feel the need to identify that headstock as a separate entity. And the reason why is because originally they wanted to keep them as separate companies, and they wanted to make sure that the Charvel division was paying money to the Fender division so that they could funnel their money back and forth. It was like a protective thing that they were using so that you couldn't just slap any neck on a Charvel and then slap the Charvel logo on it. So a lot of people made the mistake of taking that decal off the back of the headstock, and you shouldn't. You should leave that there because that's an authenticity thing. To say that it's an actual Charvel neck.
They market to the Fender guys. The guys playing Fenders are really old school. They don't want to be associated with Charvel. Right. They want Fender purists. That's their bread and butter. Charvel's an offshoot company. Jackson's an offshoot company. That's not their big money makers comparative to
Squire is their money maker.
They're entry levels, sure.
Yeah.
Entry levels, and love them. Get it signed by Slash, and it's $1 million guitar. But the thing about the Charvels and the Jacksons, though, and now the EVH series, they're all owned by Fender right now. But they really do a great job. And the Charvel toothpaste logo that was once only on the imports, they brought back just for those NAMM shows Sparkle guitars this year. So you'll see like they made 8 guitars with the old Charvel toothpaste logo, formerly on only imports, now on 8 American custom shops. So they brought that back just for a NAMM display. And Steve Vai's Green Meanie, by the way, was an early Charvel. That's another one you could point out.
Well, and I have 2 Green Meanie reissues that Grover Jackson made. He only made 36 of them, and I have numbers, 28 and 29. And they play just like a good old classic Charvel will.
Well, I want
guitars.
I want 69.
Giggity. The Green Meanie is an interesting guitar, obviously. For those that don't know, Grover, when Steve Vai was in Alcatraz, he was getting ready to go out on tour, and all he had was some Strats. He didn't have a Super Strat at the time, so Grover lent him the Green Meanie. And while Vai was on tour, he put stickers all over it and started to decorate it show after show. And essentially, it was supposed to be a loaner that was given back to Grover, but by the time he got back, the guitar didn't look anything like it was. So Grover's like, keep it, just keep it. And that guitar now has been retired, but that was the original. That thing there, see, you see there, it started out as essentially just a sort of a neon green San Dimas with the humbucker, single humbucker, which was the first time anybody had seen that configuration in a Strat. And now, as you look at some of the new Pro Mods, the Charvel Pro Mods, they are all essentially recreations of that Green Meanie.
A lot of
them. They have the H, and all the Ibanez, all that stuff comes from Vai. He was the first guy to figure out, okay, I want to have the opportunity to do both Les Paul and Stratocaster and those out of phase quack tones, and the only way to do it, to get all of the tones that you can possibly get out of one guitar, you get Strat and Les Paul tones out of one guitar, you have to have that pickup configuration. Vai was the guy that made it possible to get every tone possible out of the classic guitars in one guitar.
And keep in mind, George Lynch's early guitars, his Yellow Tiger and his Green Tiger Booger, both pre-pro Charvel. Again,
Yep.
Boogie Bodies was making these bodies with them, with Wayne Charvel. He was using Boogie Bodies sometimes. So Lynch basically was asking for like seconds. Just same with Van Halen, same with CC DeVille also asked for a second. You got a flawed body, I could buy cheaper. And they got them from Grover. These legendary guitars were pre-pro Charvels. So stuff that in your pipe and smoke it.
And hello, Kurt S. 5150. Hey, man.
Hey, Kurt.
And the interesting thing is it's fun to watch the comeback. It's fun to watch people embracing Charvel again. They still aren't embracing Jackson as quite as much for whatever reason. And I think maybe it could be there hasn't been a model outside of, I think, the Adrian Smith and the Rhodes model, but the Rhodes model again is an American. They're going to make that in the custom shops. I think there hasn't been a Jackson yet that has resonated with people like the legend of the Charvels and stuff like that. The new ones, there isn't a new one other than the Adrian Smith signature. There really isn't a Jackson guitar outside of the Randy Rhoads American-made ones that anybody cares about yet. Maybe that'll change.
Well, everyone loves the Rhodes. I have a bunch of them. I love them. That to me is Jackson. That to me is Jackson.
What's interesting is our friend Dane, who has a shop here in town, has several of the Ibanez Rhodes knockoffs that are lawsuit guitars. They were given a cease and desist.
Like 1985, I remember, right?
Yeah. But our friend Dane has several of those hanging up in his shop, which are rare guitars. Now they're not worth a whole lot.
They're cool guitars, though.
Yeah, they're not worth a lot of money, but they're worth what he's asking for them right now. But if you ever wanted to get a cheap knockoff of the Randy Rhoads guitar without having to pay a whole lot of money and get a quality guitar, again, also for the dollar, those Ibanez offset Vs, they're not really Randy Rhoads guitars. I forget what they called the model. But those guitars are well worth your dollar if you're looking for a cheap, original, vintage 80s guitar for not a whole lot of money. Like, you're going to pay a lot of money now for a vintage Charvel or a vintage Jackson, American-made.
Pre-pro Charvel will run you in the thousands.
Right, but if you want to get a decent vintage 80s V or Jackson knockoff, that Ibanez is well worth your money.
Yeah, they made good guitars, and also Kramer also made for a while a knockoff of the Jackson Rhodes.
Yeah,
I had one of those. I had one of the Focus ones.
Kramer.
Yeah, it was like a Focus, like 5,000 or something.
Yeah, Focus 4,000, 5,000, something like that.
I had one.
Well, all the Kramer Focus series, the original ones from the 80s, are ESPs.
Yeah.
Asked in the question, Mr. Hellstorm 74, do I have any of the Wild audio guitars? How are they? I don't. I've never played one, so I can't honestly answer on that one.
They're hideous looking, man. I can't get past one of those. As much as I love Zach as a player, to me, Zach with a Les Paul makes sense. I think the Wild audio guitars are just an awful, awful looking guitar. Can't get past the visual of it to tell you to want to pick one up and play it.
Well, let's look at one.
They're awful.
What is it? Wild?
Good night, Sandra. Thank you.
Good night, Sandra. Thank you so much.
And so Jason McNamara has one of those Ibanez's, the offset Vs that I was talking about. They are great guitars.
They are.
But it's a lawsuit guitar. They got a C&D from Jackson saying, "Hey, we own the trademark to that shape. Stop making them."
Does Dane have them on his website that we could go on and show what he has?
Unless you can see pictures, they might be visible in a video that he posted a week ago when our friend Caleb Rappaport from Nerd Halen was at his shop. He was playing an old Dennis Klein Kramer. They might be visible hanging behind him because I know where they are.
How long have they been there?
Years.
A while? Oh, well then.
Yeah.
How long has Dane been there?
Years. I mean, look at him. He hasn't left.
Dane's like, I gotta get out of this business.
Well, it's a one-man operation. You know, that's how he keeps his costs
It's a good
down.
shop. It's a nice shop.
It's a great shop. It's a fun shop to go to for guys like you and me, because you never know what's going to walk through the door. It's like a pawn shop. And guys like you and me might find, you know, I got my GJ2s out of there, on one of them, GJ2 out of there, because nobody knew what it was. It sat on the wall for over a year. And I was like, all right, I want this guitar. You know, I started to go through another Steve Vai phase. I'm like, I got to get it. He's got several of the CHARVEL models in there. You know, the neck through models. Was it Model 6 or whatever it is? Yeah, he's got several of those in the shop.
Started in 1987 and went through, I think, the 90s, I guess.
He's also got the old spaghetti logo CHARVEL. What is it? The something 562 or whatever it is.
All the toothpaste logos are the model series. Those are all imports. Other than, like I said, just the NAMM custom shops for this year. They just want to do something different.
That's your guitar, right?
That's my guitar, yeah.
You have that one?
Yep, that's mine.
There he is.
Yeah.
There's our man up there.
That's my green Meanie, which was sitting on his wall for well over a year. And nobody wanted it for whatever reason. So I traded him a different guitar for it. And that's the other good thing about that. You know, you don't get many shops like that will give you an opportunity to trade. And Dane is a trader.
Johnny, he's a traitor to our country. I mean,
scroll up again, John. Scroll up a bit. One more, a little bit on that back. You can't see it. No, there's a Zakk Wylde bullseye. He used to have them up on that wall.
This one?
Yeah, no, but he used to have the V's on that wall, that same wall with that Zakk.
Johnny, what's the website real quick, just so people could follow along if they want to?
Just zimsguitars.com.
Zimsguitars.com.
Okay. I just want to give him the plug.
But yeah, he has several of those. I think he's got 3 of them. I might be wrong. He might only have 2, but he's got at least 2 sitting on his back wall right now of those Ibanez.
Actually, that's not his website.
It's not?
Zimsguitars.com. It's like it's either it expired or something. It doesn't go to a site.
Oh, it's his
great.
Go to his Instagram, Zim's Guitars, ZIMMS
Dane.
Guitars.
Dane, you gotta update you gotta get your domain.
But you can go on his Instagram. That's okay.
I'm looking for his. I'm looking on his YouTube channel because he may have some of those videos, some of those.
Go to his Pornhub channel. I think there's.
Yes, I'm going to go to his Pornhub channel. That'll go over well.
Xhamster.com.
There you go. I got a video on it, but I'll send Johnny the link because he did a video on one.
Is this the little girl I carry?
So there you go. That Johnny, there's a link to him doing an Ibanez Proline V. And I'm sure we can play the video. We won't get a copyright on it. But those are, good guitars, really good guitars for the money.
No, they definitely.
If you're looking for, and 80s vintage guitars is it's a weird thing now. Obviously you got to know what you're looking for. You got to know it's not a fake. And there's a certain level, when you're buying guitars off of Craigslist or OfferUp or whatever it is, somebody like all the time when you're on Facebook, you'll see in some of the guitar groups, somebody will post a picture of this great guitar that they see online for only $1,000. And then you realize, well, it's a Chibson. Of course it's only $1,000 because it cost $175 to make.
Yeah. Evo8 asked, John M., have you ever played or owned a killer guitar? Akira plays them from Loudness. Yeah, Akira. What's his last name? Takasaki.
He used to play Hurricane guitars.
Yeah. I've admired them. I've never had the chance to play a good one from them. That's not saying I played a cheap one from them either. I want their good level for killer guitar. I want to try it. I never have. So to answer no, but I've heard good things about them, if that helps. There you go.
So there's if you want to get a good Randy Rhoads knockoff guitar.
I almost bought one of those in pink. I came really close.
He's got one in that white one, and I think he's got a blue one as well, like the Pelham blue.
They're nice.
And he might have a black one too, but I know he has the white and the Pelham blue ones. And they're in pretty decent shape. I mean, obviously there's a chip here and there on them.
To play it. You know,
and if you look at that, though, that's a hot rail in the neck. If you look at that neck pickup, that's a hot rail.
Is that a hot rail or is that an X2N? I can't tell from that angle.
So somebody obviously swapped those things out. They got the original. I think it's got an original Kaler on it. If you like Kaler tremolo, again, lawsuit guitar. If you're one of those, it's not a Kaler.
Well, I don't like Kalers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it's a Kaler on
My
that.
favorite.
I'm okay with Kalers. I'm okay with. I'm versatile with that stuff.
Jason McNamara's big time, and us saying that's the low end one. Yes, thank you, Jason. I'm not telling people to buy a $10,000 vintage guitar. I know our audience. Hey,
Some are
Let's try
alright.
this video.
Uh-oh.
Let's try this one.
So that will never end.
Oh no! Oh my!
Oh, no. That's going to be a problem.
We can make one of those infinity videos.
Oh, boy.
Nice.
Or we can go earlier in the show.
Help me!
We can show you
For
guys
those that
what you missed. Like our hilarious whatever these are called things.
BARBAPAPAs.
BARBAPAPAs.
BARBAPAPA. Papa Boner.
Stop. So that's what we're watching now, huh?
There we go. That's just classic. That's like our greatest hits moment.
Yes.
All right, let's get to some music news. I know we have a bunch of it. So
Are we going for another hour tonight?
Yeah. Yeah, baby. Yeah. We got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff to get through. Let's see. Let's just once again thank our Swiss picks and our Bang Energy Drink sponsors. Thank you so much for continuing your support of the show. And our viewers, of course. All right, so let's get into this. Let's see what we got. We got a couple of things in the music news. Hold on. Just make a quick adjustment on something.
Yeah, I'm reading emails while we're doing this too. It's like,
I'm rubbing
Time
my
out.
testicles under the desk. So between the both of us, we'll get something done.
In between, Evo ate ya asked who my favorite radio interview was in all my years in radio. That's a difficult question. Hanging out with Zach Wilde is always fun. Slash is always fun. Believe it or not, I have great experiences with Lars.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I have great experiences with Lars. Lars and I do fun interviews together.
Makes one of us.
Yeah, it's a that's a tough question. Being able to go to Joe Perry's house was kind of neat. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, having Steven Tyler in the studio is a good one. That's a real difficult question. I don't know. Gene Simmons is a fun interview. Lemmy was a fun interview when you get him on a good day or got him on a good day. I can tell you who the worst interviews have been. A band called Cool for August were awful. Tantric were awful. Sometimes if you get him on a bad day, Aaron Lewis from Stain is an awful interview. George Carlin was the worst interview I've ever had.
Really?
George Carlin, yes. And this is so disappointing because I'm such a huge fan.
So am I.
George, I had two weird interviews. George Carlin was one. George isn't funny unless you're paying for him to be funny or he's promoting to be funny. Like if he's on a television show, he'll be funny. If the show is happening, he was playing in New Orleans at a place called, I think, the Sanger Theater. And we did a phone interview And every question I asked George was a yes or no answer from him. He didn't want to be there. He didn't want to do the interview. And I was like, wow, you're wasting my time here. He was one. And then the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco, was a weird guy. We were talking about, I think it was Tyson and Holyfield. And I always ask an interview subject before we do an interview, is there anything you don't want to talk about? Is there anything we'd rather not talk about? We don't touch. That way it gives him an opportunity to say, hey man, I don't, before we go on the air, gives an opportunity to say, hey man, I don't want to answer that question. And Ferdy Pacheco, without a second, goes, women's boxing. Like he was pissed that I would even consider talking about women's boxing, which I never did. But it was almost like the last guy he spoke to brought up women's boxing. And he was like, he wanted to punch me in the face just for suggesting we talk about it. And I never did. So he and Carlin were the two worst interviews I've ever had. I have a good time interviewing people. I try to have fun with them. I try to make them as comfortable. I try not to treat them like idiots. Jimmy Page was a fun interview because I got to ask him a stupid question, which was, Jimmy, we all know there's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold. With what word can she get what she came for? And it was just this awkward silence. It was like a Jeopardy question. And it was this awkward silence. And Jimmy goes, I don't know, you don't have to ask Robert that. I don't mess with his lyrics and he doesn't mess with me guitars. And that was his answer. So that was that was maybe the dumbest question I've ever asked somebody. I've also asked Ozzy Osbourne if he ever gets out of the shower and drops the towel and say, Sharon, does my ass look fat? Just to see how he would respond. That's a good way to get a frying pan upside your head. So
I don't know what are you thinking?
I don't know. I asked Ozzy. Ozzy was bragging about having a studio in his house. When he put out I think it was the Scream record, and he's like, so I've got a studio, a working studio in my home, and it's great. You can work at home. I've got Pro Tools at home. And I go, Ozzy, do you know how to use Pro Tools? No. I can't even fucking turn the bloody thing on. I'm like, thank you for the F-bomb, Ozzy. We'll just delete that. We'll hit the delay button there. But it was just funny. He's like, yeah. He's like, I love it. I've got a great studio. Do you know how to use it? No. Ozzy's a great interview. And it's weird because I've interviewed him probably a dozen times over 30 years and never met him. It's always been phones or satellite or anything like that. I've never met him face to face. I actually had an opportunity to do that, and I sent a friend of mine named Kevin, who sings for a Black Sabbath tribute band or an Ozzy tribute band here in Arizona. If you want to check out a guy that looks exactly like Ozzy Osbourne, Johnny, if you want to Google the band, I Don't Know. It's an Ozzy Osbourne tribute band, and the lead singer, Kevin, looks exactly like Ozzy Osbourne. I'll find his picture and send it to you because I had an opportunity to meet Ozzy on the last Black Sabbath tour, and I gave it to Kevin and sent him backstage, and Ozzy almost shit a brick when he looked in the mirror. Like he looked at this guy. So there's a picture of them choking each other. I'll find the picture and send it over to you and we can show it. It's amazing how much this kid looks like Ozzy.
What's the band called?
I don't know. I'll get it. I'll find
What is it?
Yes, I don't know.
Oh, think about it. You'll figure it out.
I know what he's saying. I'm playing with him.
Remember it. And who's on first?
I know. I'm with you. I'll find the picture.
That's terrible that he looks just like Ozzy. I feel bad. That means
it's a great picture of him with Ozzy.
That means he's going to marry a girl someday that looks just like Sharon, and that's not a good...
He's got a beautiful wife.
Oh, then he lucked
his wife is way outside his way. Here, I'll send you.
I'm glad to hear that.
Oh no, he's fucking he outkicked his coverage. Make no mistake about that. They are the nicest. They're really, really nice people. I'm trying to find the picture of him here. Here's a picture of him with her. I'll send this over to John. You'll be like,
send it over to Johnny. Don't send it to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it.
I'm dealing with technical problems right now. Tech more on Tuesday Live.
Johnny, check that. Yeah, there you go. Tell me he doesn't look like Ozzy.
He doesn't look like Ozzy.
Can you put it up? Put it up on screen. I can't see it.
From a distance, like from a distance, that guitar looks like an Ibanez. That's.
I'll find the picture of him. Yeah, there you go. I'll find the picture of him with Ozzy, choking Ozzy.
And that beautiful blonde is his girl?
That's his wife, yeah.
Oh my God, you lucky bastard.
Yep. Yeah, they're the nicest people in the world. And he sings for a great Ozzy tribute band here in town. So my opportunity, I figured there was a guy that wanted to meet Ozzy more than I may have another opportunity to meet him. Kevin never will. So I sent him in my stead.
Thank you, SD Design. With a question. Favorite guitar amps? I say a Fender. Just
yeah, I mean it's tough to top a Fender.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna break from this. GKML 250 is my personal favorite.
The Fender Hot Rod DeVille, the one that I have. That's my favorite amp.
I used to have a 68 Princeton Reverb and it burnt up in a fire, although I believe it was stolen and the fire was set after the fact.
Wow.
I let my little brother borrow it, and he had it in his rehearsal studio, and there was a suspicious fire where they couldn't find a lot of the vintage gear and shit when the place burned down. Yeah.
You had your collection there?
No, not my collection of shit. I keep that in the fridge right next to me.
Okay, this is better. This is better. Yeah.
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 It's a great picture, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That's very funny.
Yeah.
Which is which though?
Okay. Yeah, you know which one's which. Kevin's got the tattoo of his family on it. But imagine you're Ozzy and you see that guy in front of you. You're like, holy shit.
By the way,
pretty good.
SD Design asked also why your favorite amp's your favorite. You know, the GKML 250, it's what I played back in the day when I was first learning guitar. So that's like a nostalgic tone to me, even though that's a solid state amp, which is like a sin compared to, you know, I have a Marshall tube. I have an orange tube. I just happen to like the tone that comes out of the GK. It's a very 80s tone to me, you know, and it's very specific. A lot of guys use that amp backstage for practice. Kiss had one, Aerosmith had one. A lot of guys like that amp also as like a little backup amp or a club amp.
Mm-hmm. That's like me. I run I've got a couple of little lead 12 micro stacks, which I love, a solid state amp, great amp, but I run an 80A MP1 rack mount through those because that is a great 80s sound. It's that Paul Gilbert, Mr. Big, Nuno Betancourt sound with a little bit of chorus on it, and it sounds, the stereo separation is great. And I run one of those and an old like MIDI Verb 2 or Quadro Verb or whatever, and run those two, you know, chained into a regular, and into any amp, you'll get a fantastic 80s sound. If you can find an 88 MP1 rack mount processor, I highly recommend picking it up if you like that 80s sound.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
It gives you the Warren DeMartini, the Paul Gilbert, the Nuno Betancourt, that Porno Graffiti guitar tone. It's phenomenal. The 88 MP1. Tough to find them though. They're expensive used now.
And yes, GK is Galen Kruger.
Yep.
Just FYI.
I always got GK and Trace Elliott confused when I was a kid. I have an old Trace Elliott Boxer, an old English one before they sold out. A Boxer 30 watt cube bass amp, which I love. It's a cool little amp.
Before they betrayed everyone.
I don't know, they sold out to Gibson, and then somebody else I think ended up owning them. Yeah, there you go. There's your MP1. Fantastic effects box. It's got a tube in it too. It's got a tube preamp, so and when you run it through any solid state amp, it still sounds like a tube because it's the tube preamp.
Mm-hmm. It tubes up.
Yep. It's beautiful.
I remember carrying these things around, and it's even worse when you have several of them and they're in a box. Thing's so heavy.
Yeah, but great unit. Great unit. It was the 88 MP1 was the helix of its day. You know what I mean? You think of the head rush of its day. Whatever multi-effects floorboard processor that you can think of right now that is the greatest, whatever your preference is on all that. The ADA MP1 was that in the 80s. That was the processor to have. You run one of those through an Elisa's Quadriverb and you were set. Those were the only two real effects units you needed with a wah-wah pedal.
And again, if you want that real 80s sound, you know, this is my other go-to is a Marshall JCM 800.
Yeah, clearly,
that's the 80s sound that everybody really had. You need one of those. Mine is a combo, but you know, a lot of people, you know, are into stacks and half stacks, and I like combos.
I have the JCM 950 watt combo, which I like. It's a little hotter, but it's not. It doesn't have the warmth that the 800 has. The new DSL 100Hs gets pretty close to it for a lot less money than a JCM 800. I also have the TSL 100, which if you dial it in correctly, will give you the JCM 800 sound to it as well.
Nice. And that's the sound you want. I mean, that everyone used it.
Yeah, and you get, believe it or not, that lead 12 micro stack, which is a tiny little head and two 10-inch speakers. It's a 12-watt solid state amp, is as close to a JCM 800 as you can get with a solid state. It's a great amp. So much so Billy Gibbons used to preamp with it. Used to use that head as a preamp and drive it for his distortion. Just a fantastic, you know, again, the JCM 800 is the legendary sound. You can approximate it now with a floorboard and the TSL or a JCM 2000. You want to get the English one, not the Vietnamese one. Although the Vietnamese ones are actually better built. For whatever reason, they don't capture the same tone, but they're better built. They're more reliable. All the DSL 100Hs, all of that, the Vietnamese, the Marshall Vietnamese heads now for your stack are almost indestructible.
Which is a great thing.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to take that's an amp you want to take with you if you're going to take it out on the road. You don't want to take a JCM 800 out on the road; it's too fucking valuable. So you can approximate it with a DSL.
Depends on what you're doing. If you're going to a club, you know, maybe not the JCM 800. If you're going on a full tour where you know your shit's being guarded and you have a crew, you want the best sound, of course.
Well, you don't want some asshole club monkey dumping a beer in it or anything like that. I mean, it's a vintage amp. It's like going out with a 59 Les Paul. You don't do it.
Yeah, when you go into a club, you bring enough to get the job done, you know, just for the 200 people at the club or whatever, not the $20,000 stadium. Then you bring your Marshall and all your tour gear.
If you have a guitar like that or you have an amp like that, you don't want to waste. Look, never bring a guitar or an amp into a club if you're playing out that you can't afford to have stolen, broken, or lost.
Oh yeah,
because I have a buddy of mine who had, he was in a touring band back in the 90s called Another Society. They're a metal band. They were all right, decent band. They've got out of Memphis, Tennessee, but he had a beautiful cream or white Les Paul Custom. And he watched a roadie hit the stand and like slow motion, like in Ford Fairlane.
No!
Yeah. And the neck, he watched the neck go down and just go. And it was just, and he's had it repaired. He's had it repaired, but it's like any.
Imagine the sound in slow motion.
Yeah, it's like you have a classic car, like you have a vintage, I don't know, a Corvette, vintage 62 or whatever Corvette, right? And it gets keyed, and it's the original paint, and it gets keyed. You can repaint that as many times as you want, but you still know that it got keyed.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with a JCM 800. You can approximate it, but it's not the same. My 900 is, it's behind me there. And I love it. It's a cool little amp. It's a better high gain amp than the 800, but it doesn't get the clean tones or the roundness that the 800 got. You have to dial it back a little bit. You can get close, but it's not the same.
Nice. Okay. My technical shit is beyond us. let's play in the music news a little bit. Let's start with the Sammy Hagar Wolfgang incident, we'll call it. Sammy Hagar recently made a public statement that amid coronavirus, he was willing to die to get the economy going back on and get tours and concerts going back. And he said, look, you know, if we're in a position where the economy's not coming back because there's no what's the cure, vaccine, there's no corona vaccine right now. If there's no corona vaccine, I'm still willing to tour and still willing to have concerts, because you know what, at the end of the day, a chunk of us should be able to die for the economy to come back. And you know, it's I'm willing to make that sacrifice. I'll put my neck on the line. I'm willing to, you know, hold concerts and do that stuff. And you know, I just don't want to see things fall out of place. And you know, it's for our kids. I die for the kids. And it's like, Sammy, stop. If you want to die, you have a great time, man. The rest of us, we don't want to fucking die. We'll wait for the fucking concert. It's a concert. You're not saving the fucking planet. So no, we don't want you to go on tour now. We don't want you to say I'm willing to die, and that people should be willing to die to get the economy going back. No.
But that's easy to say when you have a 12-digit bank account and you can afford the best medical care that money can buy.
Yeah. So Wolfgang comes back and he basically puts up a post quoting Sammy, and he says the word health, but misspelled. Basically kind of making fun of Sammy and just saying that I think, let's see, do you have it there?
Here it is. There it is. There it is.
There it
right
is.
There.
But he's misspelled the word health on purpose, basically saying, Sammy, you got it all wrong.
Yeah, that's a meme.
Yeah.
That's a meme, yeah.
Yeah, so
he's posted that a couple of times.
So Wolfgang's made a little fun of Sammy, and look, I'm sorry, I love you, Sammy, but no, I'm not willing to die to go to a concert.
He doesn't mean it.
He's serious as a heart attack.
No, he's not.
He's saying,
no. Don't get me wrong. He says that, but remember, if he said that, he wouldn't have canceled the Circle tour.
Well, that's basically him. And then on the same topic, you have.
And I'm not. By the way, I'm not disagreeing with you, John. I'm calling him out on his bullshit.
No. Go ahead. I'm with you. I'm with you.
I mean, Sammy says that, but go back a couple of months when he canceled the tour. He's only saying that because he's frustrated and he's tired and he's not making the money and he's not getting any younger. Again, this goes back to what we talked about a couple of weeks ago. Some of these guys don't have that many tours left in him. Sammy Hagar's 72 fucking years old. He's not going to want to tour when he's 75. And his voice isn't what it was 2 years ago. What do you think it's going to be like in 2 years?
I think it'll still be good, actually, but
no, it's still good, but it's not what it was. And they're playing down a whole step, as you know. But Sammy, at 72, your body is different than it was at 65. And at 75, it's significantly different than you are at 72. I know what Sammy's saying. He wants to go 55?
Out there.
Right. I'm not even there yet. But I see what you're doing there. He's frustrated. He's talking shit. He wants to get out. I get it.
We all do.
Yeah, but he's full of shit. Because he's not going to go out. If Sammy wants to pay the insurance and pay the premiums to make sure that if one of the people that goes to his shows gets sick and ends up dying and their family wants to sue Sammy civilly for putting them in an unhygienic situation, have at it, Sammy. Nobody is stopping you from having a concert. Country artists had concerts this past weekend. A couple of country artists went out and played. They're getting shit for it. They're country artists you've never heard of, but they went and they played live this past weekend and they're getting heat. So nobody is stopping you from playing, Sammy.
Well, they're getting heat because everywhere that these concerts have played, that these bars have opened, that these beaches opened, that these parties have started, everywhere that has happened, the coronavirus has brought us way back to where we were, square one.
We might be worse than where we were at square one, but I wouldn't say the word because the algorithm will kick in.
Right.
But the situation is the situation is
show more.
Yeah, pretty much. That's all right. Yeah, you might as well swear and say 2 or 3 more so that we get flagged for that.
You
Sammy,
know what?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fire truck. Sammy, nothing's stopping Sammy from having a show. Have a show. Have a show. Take the legal chance and responsibility, and understand what. Go out. Go have the show. Good luck. He's full of it. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I want concerts back as much and maybe more than the next guy.
We all
knock it off. Stop talking nonsense.
No, look, I'm sick of fucking sitting in my living room every night and whacking my pud to everything on Netflix. And not that everything on Netflix inspires my pud, but I'm really fucking lonely. So, you know, it's just a matter, we all want to go to concerts. There was so many good tours coming out, even, you know, like we talked about last week, Dokken and Lynch Mob just scheduled for September. That's not going to happen. I know they're saying, yeah, no, it'll be all right, but it's not. It's not going to. Not by then. Not that early.
Not this year.
We'll get through this right now.
Maybe not even next year.
I don't want to get into the weeds on this here, but until Americans can learn to suffer and sacrifice a little bit for a short period of time, we're not going to get anything.
Every other country has flattened
Americans don't like to be told what to do. They don't like to be inconvenienced. They don't like to sit back and wait. We are impatient, selfish, and spoiled as a nation because we have been so prosperous for so long. And now a tiny little bit of adversity is viewed as this major imposition upon your liberties and your freedom. I got bad news for you. Unfettered freedom doesn't exist. We've all agreed to live in a certain societal construct, and within that construct means that in the interest of the big collective, if I have to quote Spock, I will. The good of the many and the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. We are in a situation where some of us, all of us, are going to have to eat a little bit of shit so that we can all move forward. It's a little bit of shit now or a whole lot of shit later. And we're getting closer to later than now because we're spoiled.
Could you imagine us during the real Great Depression or during World War II? We wouldn't have lasted a week. We went from the greatest generation to a bunch of babies.
Mm-hmm. Right. And you know, somebody wants to bring leadership into it and politics into it. Shut up. You have a choice.
Take it to the Discord.
No, you have a choice today.
Nothing personal, Papa Blue. Nothing.
No. I don't mean you personally, but you have a choice today. You are in control of your own life. You need to understand what we're looking at and what it takes to get to the next place. Yeah, you don't have to listen to anybody. You don't have to listen to anybody. You don't even have to listen to me. Just think about it. You can continue to try to kick water uphill against the tide. It's a losing proposition. At some point, you need to find another way. And the other way is to concede a little bit now so that we can move forward. And that's really where I can go.
We all have to eat the shit sandwich right now. Because you know what? Some places tried to open. Some places tried partial open. It didn't work. Not at this time. It's too early. It didn't work. And now we've set everything we worked for. All those months we sat home in quarantine when we were cooperating, now we're back to zero. All that was for nothing now. Now we're all back to square one or a little worse than that. So we've got to, at some point, just eat the shit sandwich, come together as a nation, because we are America, at least for our American listeners, because I know we have international ones, but
us on camera are Americans.
Yeah. Us right now in America that are listening, it's not about politics. It's a health crisis. We all have to unite, which is what Americans do, because we're good like that. We're strong like that. We get on the same page for a little bit of time, and then we're done. We got to get through this together. We can do this. And that's it. But getting back to concerts,
but that's it. We're not going to see concerts until we learn to behave ourselves. And I know people will be like, subjects behave. Shut up.
No. Don't
Just do your thing.
ignore anyone that's making this a political issue. It's not. It's a
not.
health crisis. It's a health crisis. Now the people that were defying it the most, the young, they're the highest death rate now. Between the teens and 30s, they're the highest death rate now. Great. It doesn't pick and choose. It's a virus. It doesn't vote. You guys can all vote in November. We can all do our politics in November. It's not about politics. Just let's get on the same page as Americans. Let's get through this shit. And then next year, hopefully we can watch concerts. Now, getting back to concerts, Dee Snider had his own opinion. He basically says, at this point, concerts are fucked. We are totally screwed. They're not even an option. And the reason we're screwed right now is just what we were talking about. We're all not on the same page. And nobody wants to go to a concert where you're separated so far apart. You're all wearing masks. You're all risking things. You're all risking your health and the artist's health as well. And it's not that same energy as when we're not wearing masks and we're all together, we're all crowded up. But that's not an option right now. It will be if we all cooperate. But right now, hopefully, we can see those days again if we ever put our shit together. But that's the thing. Right now, the music industry is screwed. There are no live concerts that are really going to happen. Everything's canceled for now. Hey, Joe Christian.
Hey, Joe.
Down in Texas. You know what we're talking about, brother. Yeah, and Papa Blue says, if it ain't about politics, look what Germany did. Here's the thing. In Europe, in Asia, they basically cracked down. They said, look, you're locked in. Shit's staying closed. We're going to get through this. They did it. They're all moving on with their lives right now. In New Zealand, they're having freaking full-on footy games. They're having rugby tournaments in stadiums with thousands of people because they can.
But here's the thing.
Sandwich.
But here's the thing, and this is what frustrates the shit out of me. People like to say, we're free Americans. We're free, we're free, we're free. Don't screw with my freedom. Don't screw with my freedom. Then stop relying on leadership for your excuse for your failure. If you're free, then be free and do the right thing.
That's
it.
You
can't have it both ways. You can't sit there and look to our leaders who are failing us if you believe our leaders are failing us. Everybody's entitled to their beliefs. But here's the deal. You get up every day, all right? And you know that it's a good idea to put on deodorant so you don't smell. So you put on deodorant.
Put on pants so you don't get arrested.
Right. You brush your teeth so you don't end up with tooth decay, end up with rotten teeth. Because we know if you don't brush your teeth, you're going to end up with tooth decay and the teeth will rot out of your, right? You know there are certain things that are right and wrong and safe and healthy for you to do. So you can do that. You have the choice to do that. Don't blame the leaders. Do your thing. If you want to talk about unfettered freedom, you're free to do the right thing. Do the right thing.
Yeah, you don't shit in the sidewalk. There's a reason you don't do that. Same thing.
Just do the right thing. I don't want to hear the excuses. You have the capability. If the rest of the world can figure out how to make the curve go this way instead of the way it's going with us, maybe the rest of the world has it right and we have it wrong. And it looks like we have it wrong.
We're the only ones that have shot up in COVID fire department cases.
We're the only one. The right thing.
Everyone else is almost done with it.
I feel like Michael Rappaport, if you've seen the Michael Rappaport video, a small sacrifice now by all of us. By the way, you would have no problem evacuating if there was a wildfire in your backyard. You'd be like, oh shit, I better get all of the things in my life that are important to me and move. Get out of here or I'm in trouble. That's what this is. It's a viral fire. So do what you need to do to protect yourself. And if you can, and you should, protect others, because this is bigger than you. The world doesn't revolve around you, but you can do your part. Do your part.
Yeah, and those that are saying, I have the right to be sick or whatever, that's fine. It's not just about you getting sick. It's about all the people you get sick around you. Look, the bottom line is, you want to go to concerts again? We got to get through this. We could go up and down on the chart. The fact is, we just keep going up. You want to go down? You want to go down? Right on my knob. You want to go? Oh, wait, what are we talking about again?
You don't think that masks are effective in any way, shape, or form? Here's a test right now. Take your shirt, put it up over your face like that. Now spit. Tell me how that worked.
I always have mine on all the time.
I got a better one for you. I got a better one.
Just do that, and now to go.
I got
how much good on the camera? I got a lot on my chest.
The next time you have surgery, ask your doctor, ask your surgeon, say, I am requesting you do not wear a surgical mask when you're over my open heart. I want you to do that. I want you to ask them that. See what they say. Because they're going to be breathing germs into your fucking heart. So just
do the right thing.
Just wear the damn mask and stop unsocial distancing. Stop going to bars. They're closing anyway. Everything's shutting down again. And this is the fault of the people that aren't doing the right thing. Okay? If you knew a tornado was coming at your house, you'd run to the shelter. You wouldn't stand there defiantly and say, I don't have to go into a shelter. I don't care if you get whipped up into the fucking Oz. Okay? Do the right thing. Wear your fucking mask. Jesus.
This is so easy. I mean,
and everybody go to concerts.
They complain about your liberties. Yeah, okay. You then stop following the speed limit. Don't use your seatbelt. Don't wear shoes. Don't wear shoes. Just go out and walk through the ground. You can walk on the ground barefoot. Don't worry about getting your feet cut. Oh, does that inhibit your liberties?
Yeah, do me a favor.
Shut up.
Just either wear a mask or stick a screwdriver in your eye. I'm fine with either that you do.
Just think about other people for a second. Just think about other people for just a little bit. You cover your mouth when you sneeze or when you cough in public. Same thing. Does it stop 100% of the germs? No, but it certainly stops a lot of them. That's all that people are asking. They're not asking you. Here's the thing. They're asking you to do this temporarily with a mask versus making you stay home. That is an infringement on your liberties. Not being allowed to move around the country freely, that's an infringement upon your liberties. So if you do this now, you won't have to do that later. Why don't you see this?
Look, here's the bottom line. This is my last word on it. Okay,
I'm done.
I'm an American. I'm a proud American. I'm a free American. And because of that, I love my country and I love my countrymen. And because of that, I'm going to unite and I'm going to do the right thing for the best of my country. Just like they did in World War II. People left their jobs and went to the steel yards. Women left their houses and they went to the steel yards. Men and women went overseas to fight the Nazis. Okay? I'm going to do the right thing and unite for my country. I urge every American to do the same thing for the good of the country, for the good of their citizens, for the good of their brothers and sisters. Be a good American and do the right thing for the country. That's my final word. That's it. And now on to penis. Okay, so that's Sammy, Hagar, Wolfgang, and that's Dee Snider talking about concerts and why we don't have any right now. Let's see. In other news, this weekend, which is, speaking of concerts, this weekend, July 4th weekend coming up, there is the Spirit of Ozfest weekend on XM Radio on Boneyard, on the Boneyard channel, which I think is channel 38. And it's basically what it is. It's going to be playings of live concerts from all the bands over the years that have played through Ozfest. So you'll have Ozzy and Sabbath and Judas Priest and Iron Maiden, and the list goes on and on. Basically just not real live performances, but recordings of past live performances played all through the weekend and hosted by Jack Osbourne and Luke Carl.
We're doing the same thing here in Phoenix, only we're calling it Couch Stock. And it starts actually tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time, Arizona time. And it's the same thing. It's a fantasy concert that live recordings from, I work for a classic rock station here in Phoenix. So all of the bands, you're going to hear Ozzy and Black Sabbath and Zeppelin and, Van Halen and Bad Company and the Rolling Stones and Tom Petty and all that stuff. We're doing the exact same thing. It's a lot of radio stations, including your satellite radio, are figuring out, man, everybody just wants a live show. They just want to hear some live music. They want to feel something that feels live. So we're broadcasting. We're doing the same thing. And
Right.
and we're all hosting it as well.
Cool. I'd
Same idea.
rather listen to you.
I appreciate that. But it's
There
the same. It's the same idea.
Yeah, we'll be listening to you.
Oh, thanks.
I don't know. Can we get Arizona radio here in California, Johnny?
KSLX.com, or just tell Alexa play KSLX.
That's it. I know who I'm going to be listening to this weekend.
So yeah, no, we'll do that. We'll kick it off live tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Arizona Pacific time. And the reason why I say Arizona Pacific time is because we're only on Pacific time half the year. Arizona doesn't do daylight savings time.
And let's see what else we got going on.
So do you notice? Do you even notice the difference?
We do watching television. Like I have satellite TV, so it like football games start an hour later for half the year because I get the East Coast feed. So anything that plays on HBO or any of those national networks, primetime stuff like the primetime movie that would start at 8 o'clock Pacific time starts at 5 o'clock on the dish. So and for half the year, and then 6 o'clock on the other half of the year. Like when we do this show, I have to get together with you at 5 o'clock on a Tuesday night for half the year and 6 o'clock the rest of the year because you guys change. We
Right.
don't.
Nobody changes. Who is Luke Carl? Renus Pinkel. Hey, Renus. Who is Luke Carl? Because Luke Carl is one of the hosts with Jack Osborne on the XM station. I don't really want to see Jack Osborne as a host. I don't think he's got any personality. And who is Luke Carl? Is he from
just
bands or who is he?
He's a
nightclub guy.
He
He
was
was a
a
bartender and a DJ. Yeah.
from Manhattan.
All right. I'd rather listen to Paul. I'll be listening to Paul.
I appreciate. Well, that's nice of you. Thanks.
There you go. Let's see. So that's going on this weekend. People taking advantage of quarantine. The Cult is working on making a new album. They haven't had new material. They haven't had new material since 2016, and they're about halfway through a new album. So they're in the process. That's good to hear. Metallica says they're coming up with new ideas. They're bouncing ideas off each other in their home studios. They're working in quarantine right now. And just coming out tomorrow on Alta VOD, ALTA-VOD. Do you know what that channel is? I don't know if that's a cable channel or
I'm guessing it's Alta Video on Demand.
Okay, there you go. That makes sense. AltaVOD, July 1st, is the premiere of, this is interesting, the SUZI QUATRO documentary. You remember SUZI QUATRO?
Yeah, she was Leather Tuscadero on Happy Days back when we were kids. She's also who
Tuscadero was Pinky Tuscadero.
She was Leather Tuscadero. She was Pinky Tuscadero's little sister.
Oh, were they sisters in the storyline?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
She was.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
she was Pinky Tuscadero's little sister.
I knew she was Leather. I knew the band was Leather and the Suedes.
Yeah.
I didn't know she was related to Pinky.
Yeah, she was her little sister, and she's also where Joan Jett stole her entire look. If you look at Joan Jett, she is absolutely SUZI QUATRO in America.
Well, the whole documentary, I saw there's an 8-minute trailer online if you guys want to look at it. The documentary is called SUZI Q, SUZI letter Q, SUZI Q. And I saw the 8-minute promo reel, and it has interviews with everyone that she influenced, and everyone's like tipping their hat to her as the first one. Joan Jett's on there. The Runaways are on there.
Yeah.
All the early girl artists just saying she was the groundbreaker. She was the rocker. She's the one that sacrificed, and they're all paying tribute to her. And it's supposed to be a very good documentary from what I'm seeing in the promo. It looks very good.
Yeah, she's one of those unsung influences with people.
There you go.
Much bigger over in Europe than she was here. and you know, a lot like T-Rex and some of these other bands that the Sweet doesn't quite get the recognition she deserves, but she's a pioneer and did a lot of this stuff before. I mean, without SUZI QUATRO, we may not have had Heart. We may not have had Lita Ford or Doro Pesh or Wendy O. Williams.
Oh yeah.
Or any SUZI QUATRO was a pioneer at a time. She was a female rocker. She was basically Jimi Hendrix. She was somebody that broke a lot of ground in a male-dominated world, and really never gets the recognition in this country. Hopefully this documentary will do that.
It's looking at, I mean, I'm looking on the promo. It says interviews and appearances by Debbie Harry, Alice Cooper, Sherry Curry, Joan Jett, KT Tunstall,
Yep.
Tina Weymouth, Henry Winkler, you know, again, from her Happy Days appearances. I mean, it looks really well done. I'm going to watch it. I'm looking forward to it. You know, and they have her on there talking about past experiences and things she's gone through. And, you know, I think that's going to be really interesting. And that's tomorrow, premiering tomorrow. So that's very cool. Let's see what else we got in music news. Little bit of drama regarding the band TRIXTER. Steve Brown of TRIXTER, you know, he's the guitarist and former of Tokyo Motor Fist, which is him, and Ted Poley of Danger Danger. And
he's also the understudy for Def Leppard. Steve Brown is when anybody in Def Leppard can't make a gig, Steve Brown comes in and plays.
Yeah, he's versatile. He's basically like another Reb Beach. He's that go-to, you know, really great unsung guitarist that really isn't appreciated, but really versatile, great shredder, great writer, you know. And he basically, you know, wanted to get together with the other members of TRIXTER and put together 30th anniversary re-recording of the first TRIXTER album. And again, you know, do it high def and all the, you know, tweaks and everything, and put out a special edition and things for the fans. And there's a little bit of contention in the band. They won't go into exactly what it is, you know, but it's, you know, it's rights and things like that and royalties and shit. And he says Mark Gus Scott, who's the drummer of TRIXTER, is now on his shit list. And there's a lot of bad blood between them right now. He says right now, as of now, TRIXTER is not a band that will go on tour, or we are not technically together. Pete Loran, the frontman, he's got a day job. He's not
lives here in Phoenix.
He's not fronting TRIXTER right now while this is going to go on. And PJ Farley, the bass player, he plays with on other projects. Huh?
He plays with Raw, the band Raw.
Is that what it is? With
That's
Steve,
one of the bands that he plays with. Yeah, no, he plays. It's a sort of an alt metal band, Raw.
Okay.
He plays with them and a couple other things. But Pete lives here in Phoenix.
And Steve gets together with PJ and a couple of other people, and they go around. I don't know the name of the band that they tour under, but they go around, they play TRIXTER material, they play other material of other bands. But he says that's the closest you're going to get to TRIXTER right now. He's hoping that things can be worked out so they can do something for TRIXTER's 30th anniversary. And but as of right now, TRIXTER is not a functioning band. So drama. I'm sorry to hear that, because I like TRIXTER. I think Steve's a great player. I like Pete as a vocalist. I like the band. I'd like to see them, you know, back together for a little tour, you know.
I liked the first album. I didn't really follow them after that.
I like the second album too. The first I thought was really good, and I like Tokyo Motor Fist, who has their second album out now. If you're a fan of TRIXTER or Danger Danger or both, as I am. So that's good material too. So that's what's going on there. Let's see. And finally in the news, Satchel has been making use of his time in the Steel Panther camp. The Pussy Melter pedal, as you might remember, his signature distortion pedal with the controversial name and design. Everybody sold out like almost immediately. Demand for that's through the roof. And he said, well, I'm going to do something with a similar sound, but we're going to call it a more politically correct name, the Butthole Burner. So that is the new pedal put out by Satchel of Steel Panther. Sounds very similar to the Pussy Melter. Great distortion pedal called the Butthole Burner. Once again, Steel Panther coming through when we need them.
Our friend Philip McKnight, who has a YouTube channel and does great guitar and gear reviews, has done reviews of a couple of things of the Pussy Melter specifically, and will tell you what company provides it and what company manufactures it and how you can get it for a lot cheaper.
And Ben Tom brings up a good point. The Butthole Burner is the same circuit as the Pussy Melter. So while as close, I guess, as a reissue, as you could call it, with a different name, kind of neat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like Satchel. I think he's fun. He's a good player. I love Steel Panther.
He's a great player. He's a great player. He's a great player, and he's finally found something, you know, that is a good vehicle for him to make a more than nice living. You know, that's good. That's the greatest thing in the world is if you can make your money 24/7, if you can, if being in a band can be your job, you've won.
Oh yeah.
You know, ask a lot of the guys in all the bands that we love, the Kickses of the world, or the Jet Boys of the world, or whatever band you want to think of, Jackals of the world, and ask those guys when they're out on tour, when they have to put a tool belt on and bang nails, if they wish they could make money 24/7 just being a musician. Satchel has found a way to do that. Good, more power to him.
Yeah, and he's a CHARVEL endorsee as well. So that's another one. And Mr. Hellstorm 74 brings up PJ Farley's side project just covered Heart of Chrome with Bruce Kulick on lead.
Yeah, it's a they do a Kiss side project too, like a Kiss cover band.
That's fun.
Nice.
And yeah, Ben Tom, here's the thing. Ben Tom brings out, he thinks that the Pussy Melter is overpriced, but thinks of it as a collectible. It's very difficult to think of collectibles now when you're talking about mass manufacturing. You know what I mean? Like those, unless they put a limit on how many they're going to make, there's no limit on how many they're going to make.
They did sell out. They did make only a certain amount, and they did sell out.
Right. And that's what you're talking about is if there's a finite number of them, then you can start talking about collectible. But if the finite number of them is then it's now obscured and or made less valuable by the Butthole Burner, which is the same pedal with a different name on it.
What you need to do, what really makes it collectible is the input jack holes. You need to have like little vaginas on the Pussy Melter, so you pop it in, or the Butthole Burner, just like a little rump, and you just pop the cord right in the ass.
It's got to have a balloon knot like this pick. That's not one of our Swiss picks, but it's got to have a balloon knot look like that. You know what I mean? You're going to plug into it. And so you can, and this is what we call this. Everybody asks what kind of texture and what thickness this is. This is Mancuda penis is what it's called.
Well, that's the size. That's the size of the hole.
Mancuda penis. So just in case you're wondering.
I like Swiss picks better because they're tight. They're tight little holes. So
they're Swiss.
Yeah. And I could just spin them around on my
There's more of them.
You know. Yeah, definitely. It's like sleeping with a bunch of different girls. It's very nice. The grip on these things is fantastic. I highly recommend.
You sleep with those picks.
I do. Hey, listen, I carry them in my pocket like one of those little rubber pocket pussies the Japanese like using. I carry these. These are great. Thank you, Swiss Picks. And there you go, boys and girls. That's the music news for today.
Well, that seems like we spent way too much time talking about the issue and less time talking about music. I will tell you, I found my weird, and I'm not going to get up to get it because we don't have much time left, but I found Jailhouse's EP, their first EP, which is called Alive in a Mad World, at my local CD store of choice. For those of you that don't know who Jailhouse is, that was Amir Durak, who has the worst name in rock music, the worst name in any music.
And yet the prettiest girlfriend around, though.
Yeah, I mean, but your name is I'm Here to Rock.
Hogan.
But Jailhouse was a band that Amir Derak did, I guess, after Rough Cut. And it's weird because they're sort of a hair band, which, we know at that point, a hair band, but some of their stuff is like politically or environmentally conscious. So it's sort of a weird thing where you got this good time band that's right. It's like Living Color, where Living Color does this amazing music, or King's X does this amazing music, but there's a message inside it. It doesn't really work for Jailhouse. They're a cool band, but listening to guys that look like Jailhouse trying to tell me about how this world is unjust seems a little weird.
I mean, look, I'll listen to Warrior fighting for the earth, but Warrior's really, really good.
Yeah, no, it's the difference. Warrior doesn't have their hair teased up and wearing like pink, scarves and stuff, trying to tell me the world is an unfair place. Stop it.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'll get you the song that made me laugh so hard. I'm just Googling it because I could easily just walk over there and pick it up, but I've decided Land of Today. Land of Today. Just when you hear the title of that, you go, Land of Today.
What year was that put out? Like 1987, maybe?
Late 80s. Late 80s. Hang on. I could walk over and get it. Why don't I just walk over and get it?
Yes, why don't you, Paul? Why don't?
All right, Jesus.
Go on, walk over. Go on.
I gotta take 6 bloody steps then.
You could hop. Just hop over.
All right, while he's doing that, I'd like to thank our channel members here on YouTube.
What the hell? We're going through credits? We're not done.
Thank you so much.
I'll read the names anyway. Let's see. Johnny, bring us back to the first screen. Okay, so let's... Oh, it's Paul back? All right, take that screen down so we can see. We're not done yet. We're not done yet.
All right, I'm going to put on my old man glasses. Here's the album cover.
There you go.
Alive in a Mad, Mad World. And because I figured somebody might ask, there you go. There's the Jailhouse record.
That's the full first record.
Full length, yeah. So this one...
they just have those two, or they have the third one? Did they ever have a third one?
I don't know if they ever had a third one. This was 1989. So it was near the end already.
I don't know if I have the EP. I know I have the first full album. I don't know if I have.
The first full album, I think, is... When is that? What year is this? This is a reissue, obviously. It's Derak Records.
Oh,
so
God.
They put it up. Yeah, they put it out in 90 and 98.
What's the EP? Is that 87? I'm thinking 87.
It's 89. It's 89.
Okay. So later on.
This is on Restless Records.
No.
Restless Records was the label that put this out. And I think this came before the debut. I think this was one of those situations where they were trying to capitalize on like what Guns N' Roses did with Lies. And the record company said, okay, we'll sign you to a developmental deal, and we'll release an EP because the EP has Land of Today, which I think was the single. And then Please Come Back, Modern Girl, a cover of Thin Lizzy's Jailbreak, because the band is Jailhouse.
Yeah, I get it.
And then an acoustic version of a song called Stand Up. So it's just a 5-song EP, but I think this was at the time. Remember when GNR's Live Like a Suicide was repackaged as Lies.
Also, Slaughter also with Stick It Live.
Yeah, I think this was one of those. I think this was one of those things that was. Now, Mike Nee says 89 is pretty late to get in the game. Keep in mind, this was a different. But this is, we didn't know, first and foremost. And secondly, this was a second band. Remember, Amir Derak and Matt Thor and those guys, they had already been in Rough Cut, who had released 3 albums. So at that point, they had already been around since the early 80s, since 82, 83. So you're talking about, guys that have been around for almost a decade. This was, quote unquote, the new project. Yeah. And these guys were playing on the same bill with Guns N' Roses and LA Guns and Faster Pussycat. They were in that mix. They had already had their swing at the plate. And unfortunately, it was over by the time this thing came out. but good band. It's just weird to hear that. Like,
well, I mean, Amir's a good player.
Yeah, Amir's a great player. He's just got a shitty name.
Yeah, it's the name that sticks with me too. You know, I like the guy.
Name.
I like the music. The name. It's like, come on, man.
It's an awful name. It's like. Remember the band that was in Metal Edge magazine all the time? Snatch.
Well, that's my hobby as well as
yeah, but it was Snatch, but they spelled it S''Natch, as in it's natural. Snatch.
Get it? Yeah, all I care about is Popcorn the band. That was the band that really was underrated and should have made it a lot bigger. And again, once we get our internal differences, you know, with band members, you know, look, the four of us get along. You know, Johnny, me, you, Blue Rhino. It's all JoJo with his fucking ego. So once we get the chimp in line.
And to be honest with you, we got to clear up those charges as well.
Yeah,
we can't have that come back to us, especially not this year.
The legal fees, the whole helicopter thing. You know, the time he freaking was at Ozfest.
The banana peels.
The lawyers monitor this show.
All right, so we can't talk about certain things, but you know, let's put it this way: you know, Blue Rhino's freaking doing his drum solo. I just remember I'm sitting there with my sousaphone. I turn ready for the tambourine solo, and there's JoJo being crowd surfed to the back of a 20,000 person stadium audience. And I'm like, how the hell are we going to get him back on stage? And he's flailing around and having a good time. And he's in the back of the stadium. There's no tambourine player. Blue Rhino's looking to me. Paul's sitting there. Johnny's sitting with the guitar. We're all waiting. What do we do? I mean, you know, you put us in these positions. And then he's arrogant about it. I don't even want to.
I'm not talking about it. I already had my one rant for this show.
Popcorn the band, we will make a comeback. We will make new material. We'll
Here's the thing. If you think the TRIXTER drama is weird, sit in a room with the five of us.
Try to write songs with the five of us. Yeah. What should we call this song? That's
again.
The chorus. That's the chorus. That's the chorus. I'm not fucking calling it the same as the chorus.
Try to harmonize that.
Yeah. And then we're going to get sued by that band that goes, ma, 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 because they're going to bring it up in court. They're going to say, hear that? Play them side by side. Ma, ma, ma.
Well, the problem is David Draymond from Disturbed has a trademark on that sound, so we can't even do it. I'm sorry. By the way, Johnny, I'm sorry when you get the notification that we've used a copyrighted piece of audio. I apologize. All apologies to David Draymond and his legal team. Please don't sue us.
Anyone don't sue us, please. We've got so many between the FCC, cease and desist orders, angry letters from the Corporation of Bang Energy Drink. It's like everybody. We've got so much mail. I go out to get the mail. I'm thinking, wow, there's a lot of fan mail. Lawyer, fuck you and die. Mancuda, New York, Mom. Just all of it. Cease and desist.
I told her not to put a return address on that.
FCC fines. It's just we're the show that keeps on giving through legal action.
So John needs to have his dinner. I haven't had any dinner, and we're into almost 4 hours of this thing.
Yeah, let's roll these credits.
And I have to go out of town tomorrow too. So.
Well, look.
Paul, you.
Yeah.
That's all you ever do is think about yourself.
For the first time in 3 months, though.
Look, the important
thing
is
wear a fucking mask.
The important thing is, yes, wear a mask, but we love you, our audience. We want you safe. We care about you. And more than anything, our audience, we appreciate you. Thank you so fucking much for tuning into our shows.
Did you have to swear?
Yeah.
BARBAPAPA.
Our executive producers, let's thank Charles Green, Joe Christian, Music Therapy Laz, David Ennis, Thomas Santiago, Mike Neese, Connor Johnson, 5150, Michael, the Captain Smith, some Dave Dude, and Steve Carmichael.
Steve Carmichael.
Let's also thank channel members once they come up on my screen, which is delayed 2 seconds. Halface, Some Dave Dude, James Gum, 802 Blues, Mr. BHB Jr., Frag 5150, Jesus Rapes Me, William Bill Spruce, Frank Corcoran, Thomas Santiago, Brian Spalding, Fender Guru, Music Therapy Laz, Ghost BC Rich, Hugh Caldwell, Jim Nicholas, Connor Johnson 5150, Steve Carmichael, and
Steve Carmichael?
And Mancuda is a dildo fucker.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I'm flattered.
I like him.
He's my favorite.
Yeah.
Well, Lou and Mary are my favorites, but also let's thank, you want this one, Paulie?
Sure, I'll do this. Charles Green, Fruitcake Tony, Michael Smith, Jason Wade, Mike Neese, Mickey Settlemile, Joe Christian, Nicole Mrazek, Sean Bolin, Linny Lou, and Mary?
And Mary.
There's no Mary there. Why am I putting an Anne Mary on that?
There should be Anne Mary because Mary is very important to me.
Crazy Cook 678, Bozeek, Julia Baldessari, False Flag, David Ennis, and Richard Poole, which is Dick Poole.
Ha! Love that. We got any more? That's it.
That's it. Good night, everybody.
Everyone,
Thank you so much.
Leave likes, leave comments, because talk in the comments, we read them and we reply to them, and we appreciate them. We appreciate you. Be safe.
Good night.
Have a good 4th.
Yes.
Be safe. Be safe.
And 5th.
And 5th.